Hi everyone, we're streaming live. I've noticed that nobody is seeing it yet, so I'm just wondering if it is working. Hopefully it
I'm
is.
not seeing it.
It definitely says live. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, no notifications this week. Sorry. People are starting to come in. Okay, cool. So we're getting people starting to wander in. Share the link, please, which is basically just the live stream link, which is this in chat. Share that link to your friends. Get everyone in. It's a bit of a weird link this week. I don't know why it wouldn't work with the normal streaming key, so I had to use a different one. So something's playing up, as there's always every week. Anyway, episode 255, I think it is, if I remember rightly. Welcome to another episode, Synth Geekery. It's about this stuff in the background. Most importantly, it's actually about you guys, really, and that's what the show's for. It's for you guys. So I do hope you can stick around and share your journey with us, because that's what we're here for. And we do have our regular guests here, so let's pop on over to them. Not sure why. Don't know where Darren's gone. Has Darren come in yet? I don't think he has.
I haven't seen him.
Okay, we'll sort out where Darren is. Anyway, so these are everyone. And don't forget also, we have Zoom running. So hopefully there's no crazy people coming in this week, but you can join us on Zoom. It's all right, I'll kick them out if they come in.
Keeps it exciting.
Do join us on Zoom, because we can set up more than the 9 here. I'll get the chatties up and running in a sec. I just need to get the stream key, not the key. What do you call it? Link. The stream link is what I need, and I need to paste it into a certain thing in here, and then it does some magic for me. So if I delete that and I delete that, then I can get the key, the code. Not the key. Why do I keep saying key for? Code. The stream code. There we go. And now I can get the pop-out chat link. And hopefully...
Zoom logo now. Look at that.
Yeah, get rid of the Zoom logo. Andy, that was Andy just being subtle then.
Yeah.
It is fancy.
All right, chatties are up and running. Good. Now, if I go to here, we should have all the chatties. I heard you then, Chris. Hey, there we go. Cool. There we go. All right, that's working. Chatties are working. What do we got coming in now? A little bit less than normal, but that's okay. It's a bit weird, the link this week. A bit weird. So, hey, if Darren's not about, we can pop someone there. Right. Whilst I'm getting some stuff set up for the show, including sounds like these. Did that work?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, it did.
So we're having technical issues, but we're not having technical issues. All right, one of those shows. Okay. I mean, I've only been doing this for 5 years, so who knows? What I'll do is I'll go across and say good day to everyone, starting with... Who's the first button? Andy. Hey.
Oh, this guy again.
Hey.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Hey.
Yeah, luckily I did set my alarm because I needed it, especially since... well, to start off with the links, because we all got to have links here. Doing Senior Synth Stream later with JX3D. You moved it 2 hours earlier, so my normal nice little nap I get after the show is pretty much gone. So 6 p.m. UK time. You have hold on a second, let me get a little glitch here in my paste. Come on, paste the link. You can go to...
While you're doing that,
Yes.
Can I just capture this quickly
sure.
before it disappears off our screen? Thank you to Smithy for the $20. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it, as always. Now, what did it say? Quickly. It says... Oh, it's like a graphic. What is it?
Can't see it.
It's like a little animal holding a cup, like a golden goblet. Beautiful.
Oh, that's the Shiba Inu, little doggy holding a cup.
I'm glad you know.
I think. Well, they
I
use
do
that a
not
lot,
know
and
this stuff at all.
They call the emojis, right? And that's Japanese, so they use the Japanese dog. So there you go.
Fair enough. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, buddy. You keep going.
No worries. Sorry, my bad with the dumb paste. Anyway, so JX3D at 6 p.m. UK time today. There's the link for that. So I'll try to be awake for that. But there you have it.
So when's 6 p.m. from now? It's like 4 hours away from now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
it's 3. Yeah, 4 hours.
It's 6 o'clock now. So yeah, basically, yeah. So 4 hours. Yeah. So.
Perfect. Cool.
Yeah.
And I noticed Andy, you've been posting a few other videos on your channel during the week with some various stuff. So
yeah, I'm playing catch up from all my Living Dead weekend stuff. I had a lot of locally shot videos because the signal was so bad in the mall and stuff. So I finally got up to putting videos, including the tour video, which if anyone's probably interested the most in the mall, it would be all the cool behind the scenes tour stuff that we did with this guy Larry, who's really cool, who knows the movie inside and out. Got access to we got to the stairwell they used in the movie. We got to the hideout hallway. We got to the boiler room. We got to everything, and so it's all in the video. You can't believe it. It's just really, really cool. If you like the movie at all, watch the tour. It's only about 2 hours. So I've been putting more videos up. There's way more to go, but that was the latest one I put up. I also put one more thing on my Bandcamp lately, just screwing around. So there's my Bandcamp. And one other thing, since we're talking Living Dead Weekend, and one of my friends I've met online, who I met up at the show, he has a channel called Alpha Romero, because it's a Romero-themed show. And I'm on his show Sunday night to talk about Romero movies, music, Goblin, all that kind of stuff. And that's this link right here. Sunday night. So
cool.
I'm spamming you with link porn.
Yeah, go for
so when you say Sunday night, Andy, what sort of time are we looking at?
Sorry, Sunday night my time. So it'd be I think it's 7 p.m. Pacific time. So it'd be so some of you guys will be way too late. They're 3 a.m. So you catch the replay.
Right, okay.
Whatever. So,
yeah.
So that should be fun because he has a fun show and talk about all kinds of movie trivia, music crap, and whatever else he wants to talk about. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a cover made of one of the Goblin tracks on my Machina Plus. If I have time, I will play that during the show as well. We shall see.
Fantastic. All right, we shall move on to the next. And the next is...
Hey! Good day, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night. Busy week this week, really. I've had 2 development meetings with girl singers, and I'm going to be working with them in the future on some stuff. Not quite sure what yet, but... and we finally done the pre-release for the Nerve Center album, which is on Sinners Music Bandcamp as we speak. I did that yesterday. And so the release date will be written down actually, 26th of July. So the album will be out 26th. But there's 3 tracks up there now you can have a listen to. If you like 80s pop rock, there are some synths. There's a Korg 700, a Kruma Roadrunner, and a Hammond B3 organ on it. But it's not a synth. It's not a synth album by any stretch of the imagination. The other thing is I have signed up to do an EMOM next Friday. So my first one in Somerset. I'm going off to Wells, which is about half an hour away from here. And don't know what I'm going to be playing, but my kit's here ready to sort something out over the next few days, really. So, but yeah, no, busy week, really, but quite fun.
Awesome. And anything else happening in the studio there? Any kind of setups, or they're all sort of settled in?
I mean, this stuff is to do. It won't be till September, but I've been given a load of songs to learn for a blues band, which I may or may not join. I don't know yet. But I'm going to learn the songs anyway over the summer. So that's my live rig for playing keyboards. So that's why that's in here. But, so it's even more cramped than normal at the moment. But happy days. It's all fun. I did try and do it. Actually, I first of all tried to do it on the Kronos. And I just can't get on with the hammer action when you're trying to play organ. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I need to be able to turn it off.
I wonder if someone eventually is going to make. I could be speaking too soon here, but I wonder if someone will ever make a keyboard that mechanically can turn that feature off.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That's what it needs. It's
so
absolutely
cool.
impossible. Yeah, because the organ sounds in the Kronos are really good. It's got a really good. There's the CX, the Korg CX sounds are in there. The Farfisia Compact Duo sounds very own one of them. All of that, and the B3, the Hammond B3, they're all in there. But the hammer action is just too heavy, So ideally, I would probably need to MIDI it to the sledge above and play the sledge if I could be bothered. Really, it was easier to bring the actual proper kit in and then sort out the sounds I'm going to be using and check it from there really. But yeah, you're right. I'm sure they'll get there at some point, but not with the Kronos 2. Certainly not.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome. All right, and we'll also go across to Chris. You've sorted out your audio now, so we can go across to you.
Yes, I have. It was actually my brain that was the problem. I forgot that the mute switch was a mute switch, not a go switch.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's been the kind of week I've had.
I mean, I didn't tell you where to go.
No, you don't tell me where to go. You never tell me where to go. I'm so loud now on my speakers because I was panicking. Hello everyone. Hope everyone's cool and doing synthy things. I didn't do a heap of synthy stuff this week. This was my last. I've got some good news and bad news. I got the bad news first. Is I'm officially unemployed. The good news is I'm officially unemployed.
I mean, that's
at least this is the way
it's planned, though, right? Tell everyone it's planned.
Yes. Yeah. So my place of work finished up this week. It was an amicable thing where everyone was given a very generous. Well, I certainly was anyway. Handshake, golden handshake. And I haven't taken any long service leave or hardly any holidays, so I'm going to take them all now. So, yes, probably annoys everyone. We'll see how long the money lasts, eh? Because we can start taking bets on how long it's going to take before either I go crazy because I've got nothing to do, which is not going to happen, or I run out of money and reality sets in.
Which is probably going to happen because you've got a synth, you've got a synth addict.
Exactly. That's there's money going in one end and coming out the other, and it's not going in the other end. I'll probably notice something change. Yes. Anyway, so I'm kind of optimistic about it. We had our last sort of togetherness on yesterday, and we had a big lunch and lots of drinking and eating food, which is always the way we celebrate things. But we'll be meeting up once a year anyway because we do a little yearly thing anyway, so we're going to do that. But yeah, no, it's a bit sad saying goodbye to everyone and all these colleagues that you've worked with. Well, for me, it's my entire career. So I've only ever had one full-time job, and this was it.
That is huge, man.
It is pretty amazing. It's unusual. It's very unusual, especially in IT.
So how many years is that? Is that like 30 years or?
25, 26 years, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's kind of hard to believe. But when I look back on it and realise, especially when I look at photos of myself when I first started, that's when it kind of the reality sets in. I go, oh yes, that was 26 years ago. But yeah, no, so it's one of those things where I'm still really close to the person who ran the place, and we're still really good friends, and we'll continue to do stuff together. So yeah, we won't let that slide. So that's kind of my connection to it going forward. It's good to have sounding boards to talk to about worky type stuff, because they're all going through it now. A lot of them are going through the process of not getting doing job applications that they've never really encountered before. Because there were quite a lot of people in the company who were we call them Crosscom people, because that was the name of our company. It was called Crosscom. Yes, it was the people who worked there either moved on very quickly because they didn't particularly like the conditions of particularly the dollar conditions. So we weren't a massive, paid people a lot of money. We basically gave people a lot of really cool, relaxed conditions in the workplace. And basically the people who went, this is exactly what I need, were the people who stayed. And I was one of them. So it was an very unusual workplace. But as I said, it worked out well in the end because we got a very generous golden handshake at the end of it all. And that enables me to pretty much relax a bit for now, concentrate on things like helping out here with the olds, and doing a bit of music maybe, and concentrating on perhaps making my business actually a business, and having some products, because that's what I'm dying to do, and that's kind of what I've been looking forward to having time to do. But anyway, this last week we were doing something for work. We were putting some of our source code up on open source. One of the things we've decided to do is the company has sold to me and the other programmer who worked on it a couple of different pieces of software, which we use as tools, which were kind of unique. And we thought we really missed not having those tools. Is there any way we could work out some way that we can take them with us when we leave? And what we all came to the mutual agreement is that we were going to clean the source code, so removing any proprietary or confidential information retaining to our clients, which is very important, of course, and stripping it out and making it, and then putting it up on a GitHub and making it open source for people to use however they see fit. And that, of course, means we can use it how we see fit as well, and maintain it if we want to, or add things. So that's one of those interesting things I've never done before. So I've never really encountered the whole open, actually starting an open source project and stuff like that. So we're still learning, because we kind of ran out of time. We'll be doing it privately now, I think. So that was what I was doing this last week, which was taking up quite a bit of my time, because I was cleaning a lot of code. Hundreds of thousands of lines of code that I was removing and adding documentation and stuff. So so going out on a bang in terms of actually, typing.
You guys removed all your backdoor code as well, right?
If there was anything, we had a few kind of personalized messages, shall we say, to staff, which were definitely removed because they weren't quite PC. And I don't need a computer type. But so, we're pretty careful. But it was quite good fun going through that stuff and going, oh, I remember this. So that's what I was doing this last week, mainly doing that. But I did have some time, celebratorily, to do what I love doing, which is I built a module.
Yay.
DIY module. This is the... never an easy way to do this, but yeah. So
that's a feedback 2600
feedback modules
VCF.
2600 VCF. Trying to show it properly, which is yes, that was quite a fun build. There was only one missing component, which I fortunately have so many components now because I salvaged them all from my workplace that it was not too much of a problem to find a replacement. But yeah, I was having some fun doing calibration of it today, and I might have a few questions for Rance on his 2600 about self-resonance and what frequency the minimum self-resonance frequency is on his.
Bearing in mind it's a Behringer.
Yes, and I think, Rance, you mentioned before you were curious as to what type of filter what version of the 2600 filter
Yeah,
this was.
I was interested.
It's the 4-pole LM3900 based VCF. I don't know if that means anything to you. but it's 4 poles, so that's 2400 dB. It does self-resonate. It uses a combination of this LM3900 quad op amp IC and a whole heap of transistors. But it's definitely not like a ladder filter, so it's not the very, very earliest one. And I don't know much more than that, because I'm not really super up on it. I thought you might have a better idea of the different variations, and maybe we could work out together what it was. Me looking at the schematic and...
Off the top of my head, I think there were 3, weren't there? There was the
2,600 people in the house. Please help us.
Pretty sure there were 3. I think
Which
there was,
version is it?
There was the Moog one used first, and then it got told off for that, and then they made
that was discrete transistors.
Yeah. Then they made another one, which was their own, and then I think they made another one, or maybe there was one before the Moog one. I forget which way it went. Anyway, but I'm pretty sure there were 3. Now,
that sounds right.
Kent should be there in chat. He should tell us.
Kent,
by the way, speaking of
help
Kent,
us out.
I don't know if it's scrolled past yet or not. Oh, it has scrolled past.
He did something generous.
I do want to say thank you to Kent for putting the £20 in. I had my screen off at the moment, so I didn't pick up. It said, didn't get any animal holding anything bugger. And that's obviously a reference to Steve Smith's thing. But, yeah. But Kent will probably mention it in chat. So
yeah, we'll be later in the show if anyone.
Yeah. Well, we've got the Zoom call.
Plug it in if you want.
Yep, got the Zoom call going. So whoever wants to join us on Zoom, they can do that. Now, I believe Darren has rocked up. Sorry, Darren, about the non-normal stream link this week. It was kind of playing up. So, I don't know if you guys know, but in YouTube you get kind of 2 ways to do a stream. You can do an instant stream, which is what I've done tonight, or you can do a scheduled stream, which give you a different stream key, and it kind of plays up sometimes. Probably once a year I get a problem with it, and I don't know what it is. And I think it might be related to me using the ATEM Mini ISO Pro, which is what I've got, which I use to stream on. The reason why I use it to stream on is because it takes a bit of CPU load off of my PC whilst I'm streaming. It's not actually doing all the streaming calculations. It's literally just taking a video feed from the output of vMix, which is my streaming software switcher. But I could stream from vMix if I wanted to, but I don't because of the issues I've had over the past. Darren will contest to what they are. So, but every now and then it gives me the you can't stream problem, and I literally have to then create an instant stream, which was tonight. But anyway, it doesn't matter because we've got a show and it's running, and who gives a rat's toss?
We can
yeah.
Thunderbirds I go.
Yeah.
Now, I've never had my ATEM work properly with the stream out. I always have to use the computer-based stream.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I get it to work 364 days a year, and then there's 1 day a year where it just doesn't play ball. But anyway, that's fine. I do want to mention too that there is chatties who have obviously discovered that I'm now streaming. There's about 50 of them now, so that's good. Now, Darren has arrived. Darren, you got your audio and everything. Thumbs up. Can I go across to you now, bud? You're good to go?
I presume I'm all right.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, you were lucky because I was going to carry on doing some other stuff. I called in at about 10 to, right, nothing there. 5 to, nothing there. Checked on air, like you said, there was no YouTube.
Oh, that was when we were restarting, wasn't it, Ian? We were doing some restarting then, so you might have called in in the middle of me doing a restart.
I got a black screen too when I first called in.
So I thought, oh, I must have missed something. I mustn't have a show. So I checked emails, couldn't find anything there. I thought, I don't know, maybe he's just having a day off. So I thought, I know, I'll crack on with some other stuff. And it was only by chance when I thought, I'll just flick on my iPad here and that on YouTube, and I just noticed you was gone live. I thought, hey, yo. Yeah.
You're here. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
buddy.
so I don't know if that's good luck or bad luck for everybody.
Well, it's good luck for me.
Good luck
because I've got my bud on the show, so I'm happy.
Just to say, I've not done anything in the studio this week. It was too hot to stay in here. I just thought, nah, it doesn't do you. I just can't concentrate when it's so hot in here.
What are we talking hot?
7x7 room.
What, 15 degrees?
For me,
16?
it's hot. No, it's about
So in other words, it's my temperature in winter here.
Ambient temperature.
We've had a summer this week.
Yeah, it was about 32 degrees in here, maybe a bit more.
Oh, you poor
there's
bugger.
So I just thought I can't sit in the studio and that I can't concentrate. So
If you ever came to
I'm
Australia,
not doing
Darren, you'd
anything.
melt.
Exactly. I mean, I'd need a woolly coat and everything on. So
Fair enough.
but yeah,
We
no.
were
So I've not done
freezing.
anything this week.
Well, we are kind of in the middle of doing something. I haven't done it for you yet because I haven't actually downloaded it. But you have sent me a Wii transfer,
Oh,
so I will.
there's a few, wasn't there?
Yeah, I will get onto that.
But what I'll say is, because when you sent the last one, and
Yeah.
we went, it's quite. I've got a feeling these ones that I've sent you, I've got a feeling they're going to be pretty similar to that actually.
Oh, really?
Because I've started listening to them back again, knowing how the first one was, and I thought this could be very similar. So it might be interesting to see what these come out. Because the way I'm working this set, it's how can I put it? Some ideas are working, some ideas are not. That's why I've sent you these other things, just to try something new out. But good. Thanks for that when you do it. Anyway, it's no rush. Just it was just something I needed to check out because I thought I've sort of stripped them as best I can, which is nowhere near as good as what you can do with stems, just to see whether the actual idea will work. And some will, some won't. I'll have to see what it's like when it's stemmed because, like you say, when we seen it last time, it was completely different than what I was expecting. So, yes. Anyway, get on with the show. I'll let you go.
Well, no, you
Not go.
take your time. Take your time, buddy. Take your time.
No,
Slow news week.
No, there's news.
No, that was
There's
There's
news.
news.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's news.
There's memes. There's. Don't worry, guys. There's stuff. There's content. I'm just busy setting it up while you guys were talking. I had one of those days where literally time got the better of you.
Evaporated.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, and I looked at my clock and it was like 8:30 my time, which is like half an hour before the stream starts. And I'm like, oh shit. And I ran into here, turned all the power
Is
on.
that because we're getting older, more to do, or what? Because time moves just as time moves.
I don't
As you get
know.
older.
But the days go
Time's
quick,
relative, isn't it?
don't they? They go
Time is
quick.
relative.
They
When
do.
you were a kid, the days used to
just
drag
weeks.
on and on, didn't they? Used to feel like
'cause
weeks,
you're
right?
waiting for something.
But did
Like
they
not
all?
straight home
Is it
from
the way we
school or
perceive it?
something,
I think maybe it's we get used to it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a familiarity thing. You get used to the cycle of the day and the night, and I think as you get older, you become sort of cognitive about how it all works. But when you're a kid, you're kind of oblivious to stuff. You know, your wisdom is narrow, right? You don't know so much, and as a result, you kind of you're living more in the moment, I guess, aren't you? As a kid, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is the future set in time?
Well, we could go there if you want it.
is
That
that,
could be a topic.
You are.
be a
Ranty, you
huge-
are.
Are we all just in
You
a
and
simulation?
Chris are in the future.
We are literally.
Well, yes, actually, depending on my
yes,
iPad.
that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
future.
yes.
Yeah.
According to the time zones, yeah. Wonderful thing, time
Yeah.
zones.
Well, never mind that. The lag
time
I've
travel.
got in the iPad, it's definitely in the future.
The good news, though, the good news,
that's very
Ian, is that if you did catch a flight to Australia now, it's actually quicker than what it used to be about 10, 15 years ago. And it's not because they've put the Concords back out in production. Well, I wish they would because they were bloody quick, those things.
They were really, really
But
fast.
it's because the new jets that they've got can fly without having to refuel, so they can go direct. And as a result, you'd probably shave a couple of hours off your flight. And so I think 17 hours is my city to London is pretty good. 17 hours.
Yeah.
You start to get a bit wiggly in your seat after about 12, but 17 hours is not bad.
So your time
Yeah,
travel.
but according to flat earthers, it's this crazy route you have to fly to get to Australia. So
Yeah, you got to go over the ice shelf.
yeah, right.
Because my
What is with this ice shelf? They've been watching Game of
Yeah,
Thrones,
no,
right?
it's-
And now all of a sudden there's an
Yeah,
ice
yeah.
shelf.
yeah.
What is it with any?
Well, I
I
will
mean, we
be-
have orbital shots of the globe, so it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. I will be
Oh.
coming to Australia at some point in the future, though. I will be definitely, because my daughter-in-law is Australian, so I will be coming over.
Fantastic.
Although she's in Cairns, which
Yeah,
is
it's a
quite a
good
long
place.
way away from you guys.
Good part of the world up
Yeah.
there. Nice and
But I was-
humid and warm.
Humid.
Probably never ever gets cold really up there.
No.
Yeah, tropical.
So
Yeah.
we will at some point we will be coming over.
I lived near Cairns. I lived in a place called Townsville for a little while. So it's only about 4 hours. I think it's about 4 hours from Townsville. Anyway, speaking of flat Earths, if you really want to get triggered with my show, here's a comment that will trigger you. Back in the Greek mathematician days, we're talking like, what is that, 2,000 years ago or whatever, when the Greeks were, doing all the cool calculations that we pretty much base a lot of the maths that we still use today on. Mm-hmm. They calculated the movement of a sun over some well. I forget what the well is. Someone
Eratosthenes used 2 wells over in different areas at the same time of day.
And that literally...
an amazing calculation that was pretty damn close.
That literally... Well, what it did is it proved the theory of the circle circumference theory. So he worked out...
And also the measurement was pretty good, too.
And the measurement was pretty good. And I think we still kind of use it today. But it also proves the Earth is a sphere as well. So, take that how you want.
Is it?
We've evolved in 2,000
tricksy,
years. So.
Tricksy things.
I always thought it was just flat.
I know.
Sorry.
God.
I have to break the news this week to you.
Yeah. But didn't somebody fall off the edge of it?
I've been up in aircraft
maybe some
higher than what most people have been up in. Yeah. I've been up in some pretty high up aircraft. I'm not going to say I've been into space or anything because I haven't, but I've been up in some military aircraft that go higher than the average airliner passenger aircraft. And the world does look kind of cool from up there, I have to say.
Do you have to wear a...
No, we didn't. No, we weren't in the... I haven't been in an SR-71, if that's what you mean. No. That would have been cool. I would have loved that. Chaser, yeah. F111 I've been in. Cool. They were good. I don't think they use those anymore. They were Lockheed, I think, if I remember right. Lockheed. Strike reconnaissance aircraft. They had a pilot and a navigator, and sometimes they sack the navigator and they let people up in them. Anyway, that wasn't the best I ever went in. The best plane I actually got to fly this one. I didn't get to fly the 111 because he wouldn't let me touch the controls. Probably because I was in the navigator seat. No, in the best plane I ever flew, which was just purely a jaunt, was an F-18 Hornet. That was literally
wow.
Like, if everyone said to me, list the top 5 things you've done in your life, that would be in there. Yeah, it was so cool that it was just like, I got a certificate on my wall at home. That's how cool it is. Signed by the pilot. Yeah,
love F-18 Hornets.
That didn't go as high as the F111 though. So
we went fast.
We went high. Oh, we went fast. Yeah. Those things, they literally have. If you literally do a roll, right? So you go from being upright to upside down. Pilots will be able to tell you that they can see the transition, but I could not. It literally felt like 1 microsecond I was upright, and next microsecond I was upside down, and it really smacks your perception and balance around in your head.
So luckily you don't get airsick, right? You're fine with the motion and all that.
I think I've told you guys about this before on the stream. That was the plane that I flew in. That I wasn't sick in it. I climbed out of the aircraft, walked about 5 steps down the tarmac, and literally projectile vomited all over the tarmac afterwards.
Yep.
And apparently that's quite normal, even for people that don't get airsick. Yeah.
Yeah, the limbic system went, oh crap. Oh my God, what just happened?
The 2 feet were on the ground and the brain's gone, oh, we have balance again, people.
Were you dizzy as well, or just...
No. I was fine. In fact, probably only took me about 3 hours afterwards to sort of get back to what you would call, sort of normal feelings, which is pretty quick for what they said. So
some people get the little otoliths in their semicircular canals. They can get stuck sometimes, and then you feel like you're whoa.
Yep. Some people have been up in these planes, and it's taken them 2 weeks to get all their balance back, and they felt dizzy, and they've been like walking around the house, like leaning and stuff like that. Yeah. So
bit like a concussion.
Yeah.
There was a mean experiment they did in biology labs a long time ago, and they didn't care about animals as much as they do now. You take a crayfish and put some iron filings in its thing, and it absorbs them into its
into its cranium.
Yeah, that's a little structure there, and you can put a magnet and make it turn upside down and stuff. So
yeah, I've seen the videos of that. I kind of felt like you're being quite mean to that animal, but yeah.
It's very
At the same time, I'm thinking that is actually bizarre.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, we won't go into crayfish or lobster stories because my daughter will be running in saying, "Where am I snorkeling to next, Dad?" And I'm like, "I'm not getting the checkbook out, daughter."
Scuba's the best. I miss it. I need to do it again.
Yeah. Hey, we need to say hello to the chat. We need to say good day to the chatties. My mouth works. I think we kind of briefly said good day to him anyway before, but we will do it again. Wagoo was first. So Wagoo, you literally get the yellow Guernsey. It's been a while since you've had the yellow Guernsey, Wagoo. So enjoy it. JP Page 2 is there as well. Just to mention too, I believe Wagoo is one of our Patreons as well. So big shout out to the Patreons. Now, the other people that are cool, super cool people that you can see on your screen are the ones with the synth icon, which is actually the Synth Geekery icon. We should probably say that correctly. Next to their name, like Mr. Spong and Stephen Smith. Big shout out to all the channel members who are YouTube channel members as well. And we also, have normal people here, which are also cool, like JP Page 2 I mentioned before, and Half God, Half Beast, and Matt Brown. Also, who else? Kissing the Machine. There was one stage where just about every single one of you was a channel member because there was that guy drunk joining everyone into the membership. Steve Elbows is there. I can't remember how to do the acrylic name. Sorry, I've said it once correctly. Let me see if I can do it again. Let me see if I can do this again because I always get acrylic names wrong. If I remember, let me see if I can get this. No, it's not going to work for me. I believe it's Zastrua. Is that right? Tell me if that's correct, which I think in English means a mess. Now, I did use a computer to help me with that, but let me know if I've got that right.
Google.
Yep. Anyway, did I say good day to Steve Elbows? I think I did, but anyway, we'll do it again. So you get 2 suckets of the sab there, Stevie. Who else? Get your friends to join. Marky's there. Just copy the link and share it and tell your friends. Big hello to Robert, one of our new channel members. Awesome to have you, buddy. Robert Fat Dust. Yep. In his house, he doesn't just have dust, he has fat dust.
Best kind of dust.
Well, it's analog dust.
Yeah.
That's right.
We all have dust problems, Robert. Don't worry. I'm with you, mate. I'm with you on this one, especially in Australia. Tracker Jack's there. ASIO Head, Big Bert's there. Hello to you. And for those who don't know, Bert's been around since probably day dot, to be fair. Like, Bert and I used to hang out in Sonic State IRC. This is like,
Wow.
talking about nerds,
yeah, so
right?
did I. Yeah, I remember meeting.
They
That's where I
still
first
do.
met.
They still run the IRC every show. So
Speaking of the, I don't know if it's Russian or acrylic or however you say it, but Ivanov has been hitting us with all the Russian words in chat before. So big hello to you, mate. Please use English if you can, though, bud. Much easier for me instead of having to cut and paste it into Google Translate. Man with Beard is there. And
Yes.
yeah, awesome to have all of you. I think I've probably missed out on a few of you. Lady Aptitude, I think, snuck in at the last second there, getting her name in lights. Good on you, Babs. Just kidding. Right, don't forget, zoom it up if you want to join us. We're going to have a great old show like we do every week, putting up with this ugly Aussie and his awesome friends. And we'll start the show off like we do each week with a giggle. Yep. Giggle away, people. Here it is. Teachers seize disco equipment from the 12-year-old boy who hosted a rave in the school toilets. Did this guy make a meme about his childhood?
Yeah.
Do we need to know? Do we need to ask some questions here?
Parenting questions.
The comments to this were like, how small is his deck? Like, look at the size of his thumbs. He's either got massive thumbs, this kid, or he's got a small deck.
It's DJ Drano.
GJ Trent.
I always wondered what size an MP3 was. There you go.
Beautiful. I'm getting told off for saying things wrong in chat. Okay.
Oh.
Rate my Behringer setup. And if you're wondering what that says,
Yeah.
Coming soon. Coming soon. Coming soon.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
oh, they should have put the
NED
link.
now.
The link.
Prototype on their desk.
Did you remember the VST link that we got that you couldn't download? You download it and then you couldn't register it. There should be that one in there as well.
Yeah, it should definitely be the one.
And
We
then you
didn't mean
registered
to
and you were
release
sorry
it.
you got it.
Wouldn't that be the one? Wouldn't that be the waste paper bin though? That VST.
That would be the waste paper bin. You got it, Chris. Hey, out of curiosity, how many people have used that VST since the first time they've used it? Show me with numbers
Only
on your
used it the
hands.
second time
If
you
you've
used
got
it,
two
then
hands
you'll
up,
pay for it.
Well,
Yeah.
surely Behringer. Yes, exactly. Surely
Donuts.
Behringer would know. Surely Behringer would know because they're
tracking
monitoring
us.
us through
they're
that thing.
tracking us, mate. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't
got-
install it.
Key loggers, everything, mate. You know it.
Scary stuff.
They're searching your computer for CAD software and engineering prints and designs and audio, electrical designs. That's what they're doing.
Still on. My
I'm kidding.
That- one- that's one VST
2025.
that won't show up on the torrent, right? So
2025 be like, check out my AI less jam. I love this meme. This is winner. Has to be the winner this week. Seriously, guys.
That's fantastic.
wow.
Yes. So true. That's zeitgeist right there.
Yep. Yeah.
This
What
is
are we
we're all thinking
next year? Let's put a pin in that and come back to it and see if it's true.
Yeah.
And then we'll start frothing at the mouth if it is. And the last one, I think it's the last one, if I remember rightly, it is if synth devs stop producing 5-voice synths. That would be great. And then I put this one in here because I thought this might spark a few sort of people chatting, right? You've got 5 fingers in one hand, but most of us have 2 hands. There's 10. But then I thought 10 voices, right? 10 fingers. What about 12? So you've got an extra voice per hand to do an envelope tail. Ooh, let's get the chatties talking about that one. And whilst you're talking about it,
How much polyphony do we really need? Ooh.
I would say if it's not multi-timbral and you're just doing chords and a bass line, you need 4. So unless you're doing crazy chords, right?
well, musically is one,
Crazy.
but playingly is another, right?
Playing on
Plainly,
3-note chord or 4-note chord
Book
sometimes.
full of crazy.
yeah. Anyway, what was the favourite meme this week? Please, chatties and gentlemen, and also tell us how many voices you think synths should have if they're poly. While you're at it, why not? Let that one fizzle around for a bit, like tea leaves in the bottom of your teacup, fizzle around.
Yeah.
I like the Rate My Behringer thing. That was funny.
Right, my Behringer was
Yeah.
good. AI-less Jam's getting up there. 12 says half. Yeah, half gods on the 12. God on your mate. Join the 12 club. JP Page 2 is saying AI.
6 voice.
Smithy saying 5 parts. Is that what you're saying, Smithy? Come on, mate. 12 voices
I mean,
is
if you have
optimal.
note stealing and you have, sometimes when you build up something complex, you start stealing polyphony. So there's a problem there.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh, hang on. I have. Because it's been so many weeks, Kent. It's been so many weeks since you sent it to me. I forgot it so many times. Oh, here we go. Let's do it.
One more. Let's do one more.
This has
Let's
to be
do
the
one
winner
more.
then.
Nah, it won't be the winner. Why is it going into news? Don't put it into news.
I think he's trying to prejudice the situation.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Let me rename the file from something that it said download.
I've always been 6 has been the minimum for me.
All right.
6 is a minimum for me too, really.
If I go to here
That's why I love the Juno 106.
and I press this button, if everything works right, Kent's meme should turn up. Come on, refresh.
Not yet.
Where is it? Why is it not turning up, Kent? What have you done?
Not a dot webm or something like that.
No, it's in the wrong folder.
Image format.
It's in the wrong folder, that's why. It's in the other folder. Here we go. Hooray!
Hey!
Everyone knows who this is.
Dancing key thing. Yeah. That was
That's a nice F key you got there. Be a shame if it wasn't. You guys know it.
Yep.
Kenty boys, are you happy now, mate?
I enjoyed his video on the Korg Trident this week.
I enjoy all his videos. Seriously, that guy should start a TV
He's
channel.
great. He should. He's great.
His video where he kicked the key is a good cautionary tale, because I've had like stuff stacked on the floor, and I've walked by and clipped it, and I've actually broken keys that way. So
As soon as that video opened, that was the first thing I actually thought was going to happen, which is why I was so shocked at the end, because I was like, oh, it's obviously not going to. You got me there.
yeah, they're not that strong either, so they don't take a lot of abuse.
Oh no, they're very easy to.
Can't say it wasn't worth it. Everyone's chosen it, mate. You know it was worth it.
It's fun.
It's my favourite
That's good.
film of the week.
Meme. All right,
Meme of the
Kenty
week.
boys has got it. Good on you, mate.
There you go.
All right, we'll give it to him. Yeah. So what were most people were actually kind of doing exactly what you and I did, Andy. We were like, some of us were saying, well, we need 12 voices because that just makes sense, right? 10 because you've got 10 fingers, and an extra 2, 1 per hand for the envelope tails, right? Because as you play with all your notes, right, and you go to another progression, you need at least 2 notes to sort of hang around to do some of those modulation type effects. And that's kind of good synth programming in terms of that sense. But then in a musical sense, probably 4, right?
Yeah.
No, it's got
4.
6, because with 6 you can play a 7th and an octave bass.
Yeah, but people that play 7ths, they're just good musicians. You know, we're talking about synth players here.
Yeah, that's
love
way
crazy
too
chords,
complicated.
I sound like I
from my
play
hands.
jazz when I play 7ths.
How do you get?
That's probably
fingers-
what-
You jazz man, you.
That's probably why I use a lot of mono stuff then, since I only
Yeah,
have one.
yeah.
Darren and I own mono synths for that reason.
Yeah.
Darren, that's why we have delay pedals, because it sounds like we're playing chords.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
Call the
love it.
jazz police, Steve.
Seventh.
Well, you really get messed up when you get those like in a Korg or even like an old Kawai where you have the single and the multis, and when you start stacking them, the epiphany's gone.
I'm a
those
bit
multis
I'm a
steal
bit
your
sus
fucker.
about
Yeah.
Ian's 7th.
Why? Oh! Yeah, right, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're getting look.
Ninths,
Someone's saying
well.
ninths and susses and that.
Ninths,
We're getting
yeah.
close to 12 notes now. Come on, people.
no.
You do have to you have to stretch a bit with the 9th, though.
Oh, they can do inversions to fake it out, and you use less keys potentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I like to play second and
Or
third
you drop
inversions.
you drop the little finger. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Love dropping that little finger. C913. Look at that, Smithy. Go you. Go you with your jazz.
Yeah.
He knows that shit.
He
very
spat his tea out just then. Right.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, no one is ever going to win that argument of how many voices should a polysynth had, because everyone will want something different. The answer really is as many as you possibly can throw at it, because if it's got more than what you need, who cares? Even if you don't use it, it's kind of like it's like having a 10-car garage, right?
Unless you have to repair every single one of those and maintain every single one of those voices, Kent.
You don't need to do that.
It really does.
CS80 voices.
Why do you need 24
one, Chris.
voices? You're not using 24 voices.
Yeah.
Why have to keep on tuning all of them? You bring them back to the shop.
You know what? In that
Channeling
when I got the Deep Mind,
Apologies, Ken.
I kind of got a little bit kind of weirded out by, because you can see all the little voices light up on it when I got the Deep Mind, and it's not my first, polysynth with lots of voices. I've obviously digital and stuff like that. Forget them, but analog wise, I had the MKS70 and things like that, and they didn't have little lights for all the voices, on those. But it was kind of weird because like you were purposely doing these kind of crazy notes and doubling octave chords and stuff like that, right? And you would watch all the lights light up and say, right, I just need 2 more fingers. You were trying to beat it, and it never happened. It's like a computer game from the 60s. House banger magic. We could get a brick and pop it on there, and then we'd be playing ambient stuff, ambient music. Yeah. Right. Speaking.
Let's see. You got like the Kawaii K1 where you had was it 8 multi-timbre, 16 polyphony. So it goes pretty damn fast when you start making like a track.
Or what about to Sophie's music comment in there? If you're talking big fat unison, then we're talking 12 voices.
Yeah.
I remember ages ago I did this video where I was like stacking a whole bunch of mono synths together, and I was trying to see what it would sound like with all these voices just literally playing the same note, and it just sounded so weird. They were all sawtooths, I think, and it just sounded really kind of almost metallic, weird sort of sounding, like all the different waveforms and innuendos, because they weren't all the same synth, right? So they had different.
I think it was Tim Schubridge video. He did a demo of how many can you stack and then lose it, and after a while you don't even hear them.
Well, it becomes noise, doesn't it? Eventually, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just
Yeah, just the area of uncertainty or whatever it is where your ear goes, I
think
this is close enough.
Sam did it with his Look Mum No Computer, right? He did it, and it there was an insane amount of oscillators, right? In his.
Oh, that's
was
right.
it 1,000 oscillators? I think it was, right? 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 1,000 drone,
crazy.
drone synths of 1,000 oscillators.
See, there's a point where it gets silly, right? But I still think 12 is kind of, I don't know. Like I've got synths that do 64 voices. I've got synths that do 128 voices, right? They're digitals, of course, but the biggest poly synth I had was 16, and I kind of never ever got close to using any of that unless I was doing a double note unison type patch, right? I'm talking just generally, because it was already 2 oscillators per voice anyway, so you didn't really need to do that stuff. It was already thick as it was. I kind of felt 12 was always a sweet spot for me. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe it's my Roland. I was talking about that last week, right? I think it might be my Roland influence, yeah. Because a lot of Roland synths, they either had 6 voices, except for the Jupiter, which had 8, which was kind of weird. And then you had like a lot of the, like the Super Jupiter, which had 2 6s, right, which is 12.
Yeah.
Wait, but all the boutiques only had 4.
Yeah. Digital, mate. Digital. Let's make it weird. Let's make it weird. Shall we go into news? Now, word of warning this week. Everything in news this week is self-discovery for me. So I'm looking at this for the first time, just like you guys are.
Cool.
So it's kind of going to be a bit weird. Now.
Bring up your browsers, start doing your research, people.
Yeah.
Help fans out on the show.
Let's go. Hand-picked from the last spiral of 30 minutes that I had to set the show up. Let's start with this Drift DJ Zero thing here. And I had probably had a bit more of a look at this than anything else. What this is, kind of feel like it's a bit like a teenage engineering sort of style thing, right? That's the first thing that you guys saw when you saw this, right? You thought, oh, is this another teenage engineering product?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Drift DJ Industries. This thing's called the Zero, by the way. Yeah.
Zero Inc.
Yeah, it's
I see what the
believe
weird
in
pink strap
glittering
thing.
and
it's a DJ
yeah.
deck,
yeah,
right?
that's
Right,
doesn't the Yamaha have that little strap as well?
Let me get up
Does
the.
The new Yamaha one had.
I don't know if
Yeah,
I'm allowed
yeah,
to
the
show
new-
this video, but let's
that's
show
a
the video
strap.
anyway, because I'm going to be watching this for the first time with you guys, and I hope there's no swearing or naked ladies or. Well, actually, maybe I do hope there's naked ladies in it.
I was gonna say,
Well, it's on YouTube, so it can't be that bad.
Get the watchers up, yeah.
Yeah. All right. It's only a minute 30, and if everything goes right, we should have sound. Let me know if there's no sound straight away, please, guys.
Hello, I'm Jared from Drift DJ Industries, and I'm here
got
to
sound.
introduce Zero. Let's take a look. Zero is a 2-channel DJ system with an internal battery, sync playback, beat grid, EQ, effects, looper, and a familiar DJ mixer layout. It's fun to play and ready to work anytime, anywhere.
Oh, it's the black one. That was the prototype.
Zero also likes to hang out with friends. Its 2 stereo inputs and 2 stereo outputs can be configured to route audio, CV, and clock signals into and out of the device. And however you choose to perform with Zero, you can always roll tape. The built-in recording system captures everything to internal storage. Connect to your laptop to transfer music to and from the device. Add songs with a simple drag and drop, or with third-party library management software. So that's Zero, folks, and thanks for watching. Subscribe here, follow us on Instagram, or sign up for email at our website to stay updated.
Awesome. There we go. So I'm
know how much
digesting
it
this with you guys. I do
Just
have no
looking
price. No price. TBA.
Yeah, right.
The thing is, DJ equipment, I kind of feel like I actually really like DJ stuff, and I think in earlier shows we kind of talked about Denon decks and Pioneer decks and stuff like that. And to be fair, I kind of feel like we need to talk more about the DJ stuff, because I actually think it's kind of, it's a lot of people that watch synth shows, they're DJs or they're producers,
That's right.
So, but this thing is
100%.
this thing is like a little handheld thing, that more like Darren's park bench type jobber. Yeah.
See the meme
It's
from
definitely
before.
PVC.
Okay, so we heard on the video it's got it's battery powered, right? It's got 2 channels of audio playback with tempo sync, beat grid, built-in effects with delay, reverb, flanger, 3-band EQ, and a looper. It has 32 gig of internal memory, which you can record, and you can actually use it as an audio recorder as well, a mobile audio recorder. It's USB-C, which I did see the USB-C plug going in. I thought, yes, it's not a micro. And you can use that to charge the device. The stereo inputs on the 3.5 millimeter jacks. And what else was there? There was something about control voltage. What did I read about that?
Check your modular patch.
You can route the
output
unit
trigger
control
Yeah, it was-
voltage and clock data, and you can sync the device with other gear. There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
They did show a PAMS very briefly.
Yeah.
I saw.
Okay, so tech specs. I'll go to tech specs and then we can talk about it. It is a 3000 milliamp hour, so 3 amp hour battery, 256 meg of DDR3L, which are the low powered RAM chips, and I think I mentioned before it has the 32 gig eMMC drive in it, and it runs on Linux. It's a Linux 6 kernel, which is cool. Over to you guys.
Right.
Throw us under the bus.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I used to have a sort of
strange
DJ thing, which was slightly bigger than this, but they didn't do the software. They did. You couldn't get the software anymore, so it would only work on Windows. I don't think it worked on Mac. But and I did use it live a couple of times, use it as a playback thing, but I'm not so sure about this for me, actually, if I'm honest. The screen looks a bit low res, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like they've blown it up.
Yeah.
It was tiny.
Stretched.
It's
on
a
that
tiny
screen.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not so sure. I mean, I would like to know how much it is. If it's 200 quid, well, it's a punt, isn't it? If it's 600 quid, it's too expensive.
I'd be surprised if it was 200 quid even, to be fair.
I think so too.
Yeah.
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 But you're right. We do need to talk more about DJ. Yeah, it's Linux. It should be able to.
Yeah, maybe if they open sourced it. Didn't really mention anything.
It would look
about
better if they made it more like the Electron green screens on the like the Digitact upgrade and stuff like that, where it's higher resolution, so don't make it too big, and make it green so it's easier on the eyes, something like that.
Nothing on their website about
white
it being
is pretty bright.
Nothing on their website, Andy, about it being hackable, by the way. Which I think us three, being Chris and me and Andy, all having sort of IT/engineering backgrounds, we would be interested in that sort of stuff. Open source it, or open source part of it, so that we can dev it. That'd be cool.
They should add a time trip pad
Have an
equivalent to
API.
that wheel, so you can tweak your like granular tweak your samples and stuff. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
At the very least, have an API or something.
Yeah. Have
You've got to get
something.
the communities involved in that kind of technology, I reckon.
Absolutely, Chris. Absolutely.
There's nothing on it that tells you what the buttons are doing and what the sliders are doing.
Yeah, that's the
So
lack of
you've got
legend.
to
The
learn
visual
is very
visual
odd.
feedback was was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was weird. That's the only thing. There.
I mean, I'm sure you soon get used to what they do, but
Yeah, it's the same old story then. When anything that doesn't, they say, because it's become so intuitive, it also becomes limiting. It's the flip side of intuitive.
You know what, though? A lot of people that design products have never done probably any formal industrial design, or have never done any formal software development training. So, and when you think about it, like some of these big, massive synth companies have literally got, people that are employed, probably getting paid under what they should be, but they've got degrees, they've got massive histories of experience in that genre, and that's why when they pump stuff out, it kind of makes sense. It works properly because they're using, I wouldn't say they're standards because there probably isn't really standards, but they're best practices, principles, design, best practices, and they generally do work. And if you don't follow them when you're making a product, this is what happens. We're all sort of picking it up to pieces. We're saying, hey, we didn't see this, we didn't see that.
This could come from the other side of the school, which is, move fast and break things.
Yeah.
Just try it. We'll find out later if it works. Oh, okay. It's not really works that way with musicians. I mean, I guess we're not all considered musicians, but synthy people.
And I am seriously
being
irritated by
experimented
that.
on.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ian, are we getting tired of being the beta testers?
Yes.
Definitely. Yes, we are. I mean, to be
Windows
fair,
makes
there's
you do it all
lots
the
of
time.
stuff out there that will do this. Yeah. Well, true. But I am very
it's not just
irritated
synths.
by that little pink strap. Don't ask me why. Nothing against pink.
Looks like a
I can't
Band-Aid.
see any use.
Don't put
I can't see any real use for
that
it.
little strap.
I'm thinking
sure
Ian.
Yeah, I mean,
Ian got in trouble with his mum when he was a kid, and she got the pink strap out. That's what I'm thinking.
I think don't
He's
go
having
there. Don't
flashbacks.
go there. I am.
this.
It's actually a mini
Yeah.
sharpening strap for your blade, so when you walk through a troubled
Yeah,
area, you can be ready.
Well, I'd want to put pens in it for a start, and maybe
I don't know if you could fit a
Yeah,
pen.
maybe
I-
on a
I-
lanyard.
Yes,
lanyard, isn't
that's
it?
funny, isn't it?
What is that
Exactly the
strap
same
for?
thought.
Because it doesn't look like it's big enough to go over your wrist. It doesn't
What
look like
you put
it's
it
about
through
big
when
enough
you're
for
bored. You
your
go wee 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 wee.
Finger. I
Stick
think
on your lanyard.
finger is what I'm going with. It's a finger strap.
It's to pull it out from all the piles of crap that you got on top of it.
Or
because you
maybe it's
forgot
He had a
like
strap to the
it's like a
backpack in the
lawnmower.
video.
That's how you start it.
No, when you run out of battery power, just pull the ripcord.
It looks no. I'm out of all seriousness. I think Drift DJs have done a pretty cool job. It looks like a nice little compact bit of fun. Love to know the price, guys. You really do need to put a price out when you're showing your products. Like, have a set of nads and just put the price out, boy. It's really not that hard. You know, if you're not sure, just give us a range. So look, we're not sure. It'll be probably around this. Just do that at least. Don't say TBA. I hate TBA. TBA should be banned. You know what we should have? We should have an award at the end of the year with like the worst TBA product. Like how long did they draw that TBA out? Yeah.
The announcing and the actual the price.
Yeah. It shouldn't be allowed. But anyway, look, I'm excited.
Remember about 10, 15 years ago, there was a little handheld thing that had, it was a symmetrical device. It would fit in your pocket, and it was one side was a screen, one side was a wheel, and you could load your songs in there, MP3s or whatever. It's called EJ Mix or VJ.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yep.
And they made an iOS app for a while, so when the hardware died, you could just use the app on your phone.
Yep.
And it's this little wheelie thing. And
I remember the wheel thing, yeah.
Bad, actually. Yeah, it was pretty.
It was about 10 years ago, wasn't it?
10, 15 years ago, yeah. I have one somewhere. And it was, pretty bad.
It was pretty bad.
They are, if anybody lives near Chicago, they are looking for local beta testers.
Why can't they beta test around the world? I mean, why does it have to be Chicago?
Exactly. They are, but they don't want to send them out, do they?
Chuck it in an envelope.
They don't
Seriously.
want to send them out.
It's tiny.
They don't want to do that.
Nah.
It's dangerous driving packages around Chi-Town, so they call it Chirac for a reason.
They hate paying for postage. Yeah.
All right,
that's it.
Now this next product, I have a video lined up. It's interesting. It's by a company called Beetle Crab Audio. And this is
this one.
This is the Tempera. Now
I want this.
This is version 2, right?
Yeah.
So this is version
That's interesting.
2.
Didn't Robert just say he's just got one?
Well, okay, so I think anyone who's interested in granular will probably want to watch this video, and we'll come back on the other side and we'll have a chat about it. I'm a massive granular fan, so I haven't actually watched all the videos yet, so this is the first one. Let's go across and have a look at the vid. There it is, version 2 firmware of the Tempera. Do you guys know about this thing? I think it's been around for a little while, hasn't it? This thing.
Remember from a while back, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Lupop did a video on this on the new update a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was the first time I saw it was last, not the Super Booth that's gone, but the one before.
The previous year, I'm pretty sure as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
The previous year, it was on one of the side, like it was in a side room or something. It was separate from it, weirdly. But that was it wasn't a ready product, but it was definitely something they were showing, because that was the same year as there were quite a lot of granular modules and stuff like that coming out that year.
Yeah,
I think I mentioned. It's another one,
I have a feeling Andy might remember us talking about this. We thought that. I think we thought that should have been an iPad app. I think that's what our comments
at least
were
to
at
start,
the time.
and then release the hardware, right?
Yeah. Anyway, look, this is a 4,096 grain, 16 voice, multi-timbral synth, basically, granular synth, up to 64 placed emitters per voice. This is a newly developed touchpad now, and it's, if you've got one of these already, the Tempera, the firmware is free, obviously, to download and upgrade. But I kind of don't really want to talk about the firmware so much as such, because I don't feel like this is kind of a product that thousands and thousands of people have got in the wild, right? I mean, let us know in chat if you've got one of these, because I don't feel like it's out. It's kind of like we're doing version 2 firmware, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, who's actually got one other than a few YouTubers that probably got given it to do reviews on? There's probably a few, right? But I just don't feel like it really got out there. So, kind of, in a way, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's not cheap. It's €670. You can they're building them to order, so they take 4 weeks once you've paid for it.
Yeah.
I would want to play it. I would want to see it at a show and play with it first before buying it. I'm really interested. It's a bit on the pricey side, but I want to touch it first.
It's about. I kind of feel like it's about the size of an A4 piece of paper. If you guys are in the US, you don't have A4, you have letter. But so A4 is a little bit taller.
A4 is slightly smaller.
Yeah.
Taller and skinnier.
Taller and skinnier, yeah. Well, the other way around, I forget now. But I kind of feel like it's about that big. If you guys are thinking about how big this thing is, it's not tiny. So you do get sort of room, Darren, to bring your hands across that interface.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen it, go check out the Loopop video. I kind of feel like it's kind of intuitive the way it works. It's pretty clever.
He really liked it. Yeah,
he did. Yeah, I still feel, and Andy's probably with me here. I still feel it should have been an iPad app.
Well, the other thing too is, I mean, Ian knows this. There's so many amazing granular iPad apps that will blow this interface away with the multi-touch and all the other stuff you can do. It's a lot more elaborate. So I like this thing a lot, and it's kind of expensive. But if you want talking granular, there's already so much amazing stuff on iPad for granular. I can't even. There are at least 10, 15 apps. I can't list them all, but they're crazy, right? The PC can't even touch them because it just the multi-touch makes a huge difference in how you use it and tweak it. But I think that the name of this is clever too, because it's like tempera paints, where it's like little paint wells laid out in the different colors. So it's kind of a cool idea the way they designed it.
Well, I mean, even still, like if you don't like iPad and you swear black and blue not to go down that sort of route, you can always go with like Arturia Pigments, for example, which is actually a really, really good granular synth.
But if you skip iPad, you're missing out on granular stuff, amongst many other things.
I think so too. And I think that what we're trying to say here is, obviously don't not look at this, because this is a pretty cool looking
I like this too.
Hardware device. So if you're into that, this could
Park
be up
bench seal approval, right?
Yeah,
Darren?
Definitely.
Yeah. I just said so.
I mean, the trick to granular, I kind of feel like now is kind of, are we crossing the divide with wavetable on one side, right? And on the other side, are we crossing the divide with sample slicing? Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of one way you're kind of throwing little sample slices out there just as little one shots, right? And on the other side, you're kind of the granular sounds are supposed to be played, polyphonically or chromatically or whatever, right? And then you're going into wavetable sort of land when you're sort of looking at that stuff as well. So this is what I'm saying about these ideas.
It's like a spectrum.
Yeah,
it's on a spectrum. You've got the simplest sampling technology to granular, perhaps right at the top, and everything in between is what you just described.
Yep.
I'm sure it's what DSP developers, how they think of it.
Well, I mean, I think when they started looking at the bits of a sample, right? They knew about granular from the day dot. It was something that they knew about, because I mean, even we've all experienced it with mobile phone calls, right? Where you hear people's voices go granular at times.
Well, it was even postulated before they did it in the early 70s, before the computer technology came out to do it. The guys are already talking about the idea of it, the theory of it. So
it's the segmentation of audio, right, into bits. So
and reassembly.
And reassembly.
And like I was showing, even in a simple app on the phone that samples, as long as you can pinch the waveform and play it where it scrolls back, and you make the smaller area smaller and smaller and smaller. That's basically granular right there, in simple form.
And
so any editor can do it.
That's right. But what makes
modern editor?
What makes a good granular synth is how that interpolation between the start and stop of the sample grain. Right. Whether you're using different waveforms, whether it's a square,
the number of grains, and all that stuff.
Yeah. And that kind of that amount of sort of hands-on is kind of what I nerd out on a granular, because I just know that there's some massive hands-on stuff out there. But then you see stuff like this, and you think, how hands-on is this? How much can I really nerd out into the granular stuff with this without having to sort of menu dive down those little OLED displays and pre-program and set this up?
Yeah. So is it some people want to be abstracted from the granular process. And some of us really want to get inside the granular process because we kind of understand it and it kind of interests us. But as you can imagine, a lot of people who'd be not at all interested in understanding that level and would rather have something that they could play and create. And
the granular is very digital and very artifacty. Some people don't like digital synth sounds, so that's going to divide people.
Yeah. I kind of feel like the Waldorf Quantum kind of really excels in that space at times as well. Like, I know there's people out there that are massive, huge fans of the software development on it. It's had a few decent firmware updates on it though. But you were saying, Chris, before it was about whether you want to be hands-on or whether you want to nerd out in the whole granularity of it, right? I think the Quantum gives you both. You can scale back.
Difficult balance, yeah. If they've done that, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but you still can't. I mean, like I said, iPads and Arturia Pigments. You could, if you didn't like, maybe if you got yourself a Microsoft Surface and put Ableton and put Pigments on it, you would then have that multi-surface touch, and you could access Pigments that way. Apparently, a few people have liked the idea of that. So that could be interesting.
But some people don't have the knowledge to be able to put that all together. Like they really need someone to put it together for them. And that's why they look to stuff like this, which is already put together by someone.
Also, Pigments is a pretty busy interface, and the Surface Pros aren't that big, so it would be a cramped interface, kind of.
I was about to say, Andy, to be fair, it's a bit of a pig using Ableton and VSTs on a Surface, to be fair. I've done it.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Robin Vincent does a lot, right? He champions the Surface Pro.
Rans. Yeah. Robert Fat just wants to come in on. He says there's no Zoom link because he's got. I think he's.
Oh, I haven't put it in chat. That's what he means.
Yep.
So, you didn't pin it
because Robert's just got one of these. So it'd be good to get his opinion.
Let's get the Zoom link in chat for him.
Yeah, let's get it up.
There you go, and I'll just pin it for you guys. All right, there it is in chat. Join us in Zoom, and that's the link there on the screen if you want.
Awesome.
I'll leave it up for a couple of secs. I'll just keep an eye on Zoom down the bottom here while it's running. Should be all good.
Watch out for the guy coming in, right?
Yeah. Don't worry, I've literally got this guy on speed dial, haven't we? Hey.
It's funny though, because I'm gonna jump in.
Every week I report him, or every week, or whatever it is. Not every week, but every time he does it, I report him, but he still keeps coming back. So,
same exact name, or is it a variant?
I don't know. I haven't been forensic in it yet, because I don't really have the time to be. But okay.
You know how lazy those companies are. They don't release that very.
They won't care. Yeah. All right. So I've got Zoom up and running, all ready to rock and roll. It is, we're good. That's what I'm saying. It's like
everyone has their thing, right?
How hands-on do you have to be with this stuff, right? You have to
make his entire weekend.
Like, it's not like a bot. Do you know what I mean? A bot is easy. You literally just set up its parameters and off it goes, and it does its spammy thing. But this guy actually has to physically sit there and.
It's one of those guys that have 3 monitors and one's dedicated to your show, waiting for his chance to.
Yeah, he's got nothing better to do. It's his weekend.
Boredom. It is. All right, I'll keep an eye out on the. Oh, he is. Just as I said it, he has joined. He has joined. Let's get him on. Okay, why is it not showing on here? There it is. There it is. Give me a sec, guys. Add participant to new input. Hopefully it's not the porn guy. Here he is. He's in. And I've got the audio working.
Listen, I'm on the phone only because I got a problem with connecting the mic. I don't know what's going on. But basically, I know the guys before when they've been doing on the Vector synth. If you know that, it's it's this guy here.
Yeah.
Oh, same guys. Okay.
So, and the idea of Tempera is more about actually how to play it live. It's not you can make quite good sound design as well. But how does it work? If you see it good now, probably you got basically 8 tracks, which are like 8 columns, and each of the sample is divided in 8 parts. As you're going through the touchpad, you from the neighbors. So you basically mix it and morph in 8 sounds all together, and there is a different forms how you can do it. So it's not just a normal granular synth. It's basically absolutely new concept. You just have to play with it. It's very hard to describe. Even Lupo didn't name it properly, I think. I mean, the review is amazing, but still, it's more about the experience than about talking.
Yeah.
So if anybody is wondering, curious, you can come over. I can show it to you. You can play with it as long as you want. Then the interface, it looks like it's a little bit complicated, but actually it's not. That you are really just one click from whatever you want to call out or modulate, whatever you want to do with it. It's very simple. It's easy. You need maybe 1-2 days to get in, so it's not like you standing at the front of the mini Moog and you straight away know what to do. But you know what is so simple. If you I don't know as you, but I always crying for new things, and there is nothing in the behind the doors, and suddenly you get something like this handy.
Absolutely.
So
And
it's
then
definitely
another
worth the
thing
money,
is
you'd
with the
say?
grains. I think that Waldorf got 40 or 60 of them. This guy's got 4,096.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So
Wow.
it's losing the typical sound when you're using it in the high res. It's got completely different character.
Yeah, smoother. Yeah.
Yep.
More
And
organic.
it's just smooth. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Do you find the processor on it pretty capable?
And it's just smooth. It's beautiful. Sorry, I can't hear you properly. Give me
Processor on it pretty capable.
and it's just. Sorry, pretty what?
Like, is it capable? Is it able to handle the,
Oh, if it's fast, yeah. It's I think they're using ARM chip. Oh, if it's
Okay,
fast,
awesome.
yeah.
So because you're using us on your speaker, we can hear ourselves back.
Now I'll switch it off.
Yeah. But if you want to join in with saying something, you can just wave your hand and you can turn it back on again, and all good. No worries.
No, that's it. I just wanted to say how does it work, and
Appreciate
it's
it.
not
Yeah, thanks,
it's
man.
not really comparable with anything else. It's just completely different a new thing. It wouldn't be able to do it on the iPad because you need 2 hands to work with. It doesn't play just with one hand.
Yes.
You have to modulate and play together.
Okay. Interesting.
It's still on my list of things to want.
Yeah.
I guess.
But seriously, guys, if you're around, just let me know. You can come over and play with it.
Cool.
It's very
All right.
interesting. And by the way, the VAT and all those things, thanks to the Brexit, it was just under 130.
Okay. Right. It's not so,
So it's not
it's not
that
so
bad.
bad, is it?
Do
No.
you find yourself using it a lot, or is it just a once in a while pull it out and play with it thing?
Listen, I have it for 2 or 3 days, so I know about that because the guy's been talking to me, while it was still in development. I know about this for 2 years maybe,
Yeah.
so I know how it's going to work, and what it's going to do, how it's going to do, and when I saw it first time in a super booth last year, I
Yeah, last
was
year.
blown away that what they actually made out of what we've been talking, because when he was talking about it, it was very hard to imagine what he's actually talking about and how it's going to work. And suddenly, when you have it in the hands, it was just like, oh, wow.
Cool.
Well, I'm excited about it. Put it that way. So
Yeah, thanks, Robert.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, guys,
New
have a good
stuff is
one.
good.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Thanks, Robert.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers,
Thanks,
mate.
Robert.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks.
Stick around, mate. Okay, so I'm just gonna. He's left, but he's left Zoom, but he hasn't left the chat. So I'm just gonna put the chatties back in, guys. So they should be here.
It does look cool. It does look cool.
It does.
But then that's for me. That's for me saying that there's lots of lights and.
I know.
You could,
Yeah.
you could sell me a blank thing with just loads of lights on it. It might make no noise or do anything, but it's lots of
There's
lights.
no purple on it.
There's no.
Well,
no, yeah, that's true.
I'm
Just
just
like granular synth.
I'm just intrigued. That's what I mean. Like I'm Robert was probably the
want
same,
to-
right? 2 years ago or a year ago. I was intrigued back then. And it's interesting that he said that you can't really do it on an iPad. So that might have been the decision why they went with the hardware. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
If
interesting.
it's that
using all-
complicated, you might need a dedicated CPU for that. So
Yeah. That's really cool. All right.
8
Well,
channels.
one of us will probably end up with one of these. I'm sure.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
kinda-
like I say, I have a list of things, and that is still on it. So
Yeah, and like I said to you before, like it's taken a little while for this to sort of get out there. Like you just seen now Robert's got one, but not many. Do you know what I mean? Like so we just need to get a few more people with their hands on this, and I think it'll be interesting. All right, we'll move on to the next. There's 2 more products to show. First one is you guys know who Gleegly is, right? Gleegly is this really cool hacker, basically, for synths.
mod maker.
Mod maker. He's been around for a long time, at least probably the last, 10, 15 years that I know of anyway. And this is the Overcycler, which is a pretty cool looking thing that he's developed. So there's a little video. I'm not going to play the 8 minutes, but we'll have a bit of a look at it. Just before we get into the vid, I just want to quickly talk about this. Now, I haven't seen a lot of this yet myself. I kind of saw it during the week and then glanced at a few sort of posts about it and stuff like that. Just a little bit of background for those who don't know who Gleegly is. Probably the most famous thing that he did was the Pro 600. The Prophet 600. He wrote like a envelope and a bunch of other mods for that synth that really brought it out from being quite a sterile type synth into being something really quite good. And the Behringer Pro 800 is basically the Pro 600 upgraded to 8 voices with the Gleegly stuff in it, and that's pretty much a lot of his hard work has gone into that. Anyway. So the Overcycler is a 6-voice polyphonic hybrid desktop synth using digital oscillators, single cycle waveforms, and per voice voltage controlled filters and VCA. So that's the hybrid side, and it makes it a real. This is kind of my alley because I love VCFs, right? And I'm actually a big fan of digital oscillators because of reasons we won't go into, but I've said before. So it's a decent poly synth. You get 2 oscillators per voice. You get duty cycle modulation or DCMs on any waveform, dual waveform mix modulation, unique girth modulation, which is something that I don't really understand what that is. It's probably his term, and you can probably guess where that term comes from. But basically what it is, it's kind of like a veil to ring mod like sounds.
Almost like more like oscillator sync, I would have thought. But
Yeah, could be.
based on how he described it.
But So it runs on an 80k sample rate for clean sound. The analog filters are SSM 2044s for those playing along at home. And if you're wondering what those filters were in, Korg Mono Poly, Poly 6, PPG Wave, and the EMU SP12 samplers.
Wow.
What else?
Got that wrong.
Has 2 fully featured LFOs with various parameters and 6 modulation destinations. And it also includes a sequencer. And I kind of like the 80s interface on it. It looks kind of like a bit of an 80s. I love it. It's actually a bit retro.
Yeah, it's
kind of cool.
especially the keypad.
It's USB powered, MIDI with regular MIDI DIN, and USB host for mass storage. What else? Big monochromatic screen. Darren will like the size of the screen. It's pretty decent size. Now, DIY kit with pre-populated PCBs or fully assembled, €300 fully assembled, €250 for the kit. Video time. Well, there we go. And there's 8 minutes more for you guys to go check out the other, I think, 10 patches that he shows in that video that you probably haven't seen. I kind of went skippy in there because I kind of wanted you guys to hear the poly sort of sounding analogy sounds, and then there was some kind of real digital sounds in there as well. What did you notice about the digital sounds going through the analog filters, though? Did you notice something special about that? I mean, we've heard it before with other synths, like
Smooth.
if you got who here's played an SQ80 or an ESQ1 before?
Obviously.
I have both.
Right. So what that does with that real raspy, crunchy digital sort of sound, and you've got that subtractiveness with the analog filter, right? It's kind of interesting sort of marriage.
It rounds it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an old sort of theory, but I don't think we can ever get tired of it.
A lot of those sound a lot like somewhere between my Juno 6 and my Alpha Juno. So.
Yeah, I kind of felt like bit of a Waldorf sort of sound was kind of where I was
little bit of
getting
that
from
too,
it.
sure.
Yeah,
More digital,
yeah. You know, and I think the PPG wave sort of feel came into it a bit there.
Yeah, I was definitely getting PPG vibes.
There's also some roughness. I don't know if it's a resolution issue or whatever, but there was some roughness to the sounds. Like it was almost on a sound card or something.
Yeah, well, that may have even been the purposely
Waveforms.
programming waveforms
purpose,
that
yeah.
way. Yeah, like that duty cycle, right? The 80
8-bit
80
stuff.
kilohertz stuff, yeah. And I feel like some people are after that. So,
Yeah.
you know, what this thing can do, I think, is probably the question, you know, with the fact that these digital oscillators have... see, maybe, Andy, that what you heard was that girth modulation effect. That might have been what you
Could
were
be,
hearing.
yeah.
It should be a bit crunchy.
But dual waveform mix modulation is also good. And, you know, duty cycle modulation as well. So, I mean, that sort of stuff's been around for a while, like cross mods and things like that. Like, one synth that does, I think, modern synth that does it really well is the System 8 from Roland. Interesting way it does the cross mods and stuff. So there's some, and especially with the new firmware updates where it's put FM oscillators and things through it, so you can get some kind of interesting results. And they've got the System 8's got the emulating analog filters in it, so you can kind of get a similar sort of result.
Also has a cowbell oscillator.
There is. Anyway,
More cowbells.
seriously though, €300.
Yeah, that's
not bad.
That's what.
The
That's
price is okay, isn't it? I mean, it did remind me. I have to say, I wasn't that impressed by the demo, if I'm honest. But it reminded me a bit of the Micro Monster, the original Micro Monster, not the Micro Monster 2.
Oh,
That was the
audio,
same sort of
audio thingies, right?
audio thingies, yeah.
Yeah, the French guy.
Yeah. It did remind me a bit of that.
Yes.
But,
Aesthetically,
I was underwhelmed by it. I'll be honest, but it's not hitting the list.
Okay. I love the sound of an SSM. It's like, for me, it's like your favorite sauce on steak. You know, it's kind of like it's a really good filter. There's a few filters that I like out there in the world, and there's only a finite amount, you know, that exist, but it's definitely up there with one of my faves. Okay, in the chat, anyone does that float your boat, chatties? Are you guys going to get the Overcycler from Glee? Who'd build the kit? Save €50.
Yeah, no.
I kind of thought the €50 price difference was kind of a bit weird. I would have probably gone for €200 for the kit, €300 for the full assemble.
It suggests something, Rance. It suggests that assembly more than DIY kit.
Yeah, like a Verkstat type assembly thing.
Means, you know, it's a slippery slope when you decide, when you got all that surface mount stuff, and you go, we got to do those here. And we got to, geez, now there's only really a couple of bucks between them. Oh well, you know, that's how.
So it's a series of daughter cards or something you install, basically.
Yeah.
There's a picture of it. Do you want me to show you?
Yeah. Show us a picture, because that was giving me some clues as to what was probably going to be the DIY component and which bit wasn't.
Oh god, why does it give me an unnamed .jpg option? Spam it with some letters. There we go. Computers.
Save as.
Yeah. There.
Yep, that's the one. Yes. So.
Tiny little SMCs, right?
Yeah, I mean, you look at this main CPU. There's no way you're soldering that
Wow.
in a DIY kit. And
is that
the whole? It's a single board. So
what is that? Is that a DSP CPU? I can't see that.
NXP. So it's
okay.
Standard CPU. NXP
It's a standard
CPU.
standard digital, right?
Yeah. I think we threw out a bunch of those. when we close down.
What are we looking at specs wise for that, Chris? Is it a
Don't know because it's it's sort of, it was around the same time as ARMS. It was competitor to them, but it's pretty old. And NXP, I believe, is not in business anymore, so it's an interesting. Could be one of those cases where he has 10 crates full of CPUs, and when he runs out, and doesn't expect to run out.
He may even tell us on his page here, but I haven't actually read it properly.
Actually, it's not an NXP. He turned it around. No, it's definitely NXP.
It says NXP.
Yeah, it's definitely NXP. And I just wasn't sure.
What have we got? NXP LPC 1778F. And then I can't work it out if it's a BD144. I think it is, right? There we go. It's a Cortex M3.
Okay.
So now we know.
So the company must have changed what they made. That's not surprising.
All right, so you're looking at 32-bit MCU, right? ARM processor. Yeah, a lot of synths are coming out on that platform. A lot of DIY synths. I think it's mainly because of the dev basis, right? So
the tool chains.
There's a lot of code out there for some stuff like LFO code or arpeggiator code or MIDI code or.
Yeah, I'd say so. But you'd think with Legally, he would be the one who would be going, I made the envelopes exactly how I like them to be because that's my specialized area.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I thought in one of those demos, he definitely, he played a chord and let it go for a really long time, and you hear the envelope and the filters. I don't think he was just trying to demonstrate the filter there. I think he was saying envelopes matter.
Well, they do. I mean,
and they do. Yeah.
The second option of envelopes in the Pro 800 are one of my favorite envelopes I've heard.
Huge difference.
They are massive, and there's a track that I made on Gates that has an example of those envelopes actually being tweaked. Cool. And I'm just trying to think what track it was now. It was what do you call it?
It's the problem with giving things a working title and then having to give them a final title.
Yeah.
Forget what
it was called Sliding. The track.
Okay, Sliding.
Gate 12, and it's Sliding has kind of got three parts to it. It's the last part where it kind of has an arpeggiated sort of bass sound going through it, and that's the Pro 800. Cool. And you'll hear it sort of change envelope shape. So the question I've got though is, are we okay? So with envelopes, right? You guys know the Make Noise maths or the Surge, the Buchla mat version is an analog envelope. How do we feel about digital envelopes versus analog envelopes? Because you guys know there's a difference, right? One is to do with resolution and the other one is to do with electrical, right? So how do we feel?
Although with Zadar you can fake it.
It's control voltage, isn't it? It's a case of smoothing, isn't it? And oversampling. But and there's different ways of voicing digital circuits, digital control over circuits. I mean, like you start with analog, and everything was basically what the components are, allowed to occur. So that's where you get your exponential curves coming in the first time, and then people worked out how to do that trick with op amps that causes it to go linear. I can't remember what it's called. His name escapes me, but that was one of the other. That was a trick with op amps. But then when early digital came along, it's the technology was a digital analog converter, starting with an 8-bit one, and then went to a 12-bit one, and then went to a 16-bit one, and at some point in time, and at some point in times, like kind of in the last, I reckon, 10 years, someone went, we don't just have to rely on the digital, waveform to generate the waveform, or, the control voltage. We can do things to it on the analog side after it's digital. And you'll notice that a lot of the, quite a few of the Euroamp modules out there are now starting to go hybrid. So they're digitally controlled, but they've got, but these ones are, and they have a real analog feel. And you're going, hang on, how do you do that? I said, I think about it and go, well, there's heaps of ways of doing that. If you know the frequency range within which an envelope will operate, you can use even with passive components to change the shape of it, the smoothness of it. So if you have if you then have that problem, well, that works great, but not when we're doing a fast envelope. Well, these days you go, why did we just have two and switch between them? These options are coming up now because technology. I think people are now thinking that it's worth the bother. That's the difference. Is the digital world was like, oh, this solves all our problems. And someone said, yeah, but there's... No, shut up. This solves all our problems. I've had years and years of headaches working with analog circuits and matching the transistors. And I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, kick Roland out the room. Kick Roland out the room.
Yeah, you've got kind of 20 years of engineers just, with, battle scars from dealing with analog, and they really didn't want to have to go back there. And it's taken another generation to lose that fear.
Yeah.
And to go, well, let's just look at it from another perspective here. We understand digital stuff, and we're exploring this analog side, and this analog side's got some really cool, interesting stuff. We know both. Can't we do something between them?
And I think there's that thing that you said last week, or it might have been the week before, where you were saying, how come someone hasn't gone and done the different flavors of envelopes, And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it's the next thing, right?
Yeah,
because
I usually come up, if I come up with a good idea in the show, it's usually released by someone in doing a module in about 4 weeks' time. I've got to stop doing.
You got to stop saying. You got to say TM afterwards.
I know. Yeah, try back. It's my idea.
No, it's already been done. Feedback modules, for example, are already doing flavored envelopes. So, but where I'm sort of getting at, and you alluded on it too, is that the hybrid stuff. And this synth is a hybrid synth. He doesn't make any apologies. I'm kind of interested in, a lot of people sort of love the oscillator being analog. I'm the opposite. I actually love the filters and the envelopes, and there's other things too that I like. There's that marriage between digital and analog that I like. The hybrid. The hybrid synth is good for me. I'm a lover of everything, but things, when they're done well together, it becomes a musical instrument, right? And it becomes special. And one example of it is the Novation Peak. I always talk about that fondly. I mean, that's because that synth was, designed by one of the best synth engineers ever to walk this planet, and rest his soul. But there's a history of work before that synth was ever made that he had to trip over before he got to there.
There's an example of someone who had a foot in both worlds.
Yeah.
His generation kind of had a foot in both worlds, the analog world and the digital world, and has been exploring what's gained and what's lost. And he was just, when he did the Novation Peak, it was probably close to that point of, I think we're finding the sweet spot here. It's just pity we were robbed of further stuff from him.
Yeah, that's right, Mr. Manny. That's right.
Yeah.
It's just like your favourite flavours. Like I said before, it's, your favourite sauce on a steak, or you're saying chocolate and peanut butter. There you go, bud. Let's go on to the next, and that's the last product of the week, and that is the Lore Mill Float Glass. Interesting product, this one. What do we got here? Says me. 8-stage voltage-controlled patchable phaser processor.
Got the P word.
I love this stuff. Yeah. You can't ever get, seriously, it's like wave phaser in front of Rands. He's like, what? Someone say phaser?
It's like squirrels.
Squirrel.
Beautiful.
It's a pedal. It's anyway. But the fact that it's a patchable phaser processor uses all-pass filters to change the phase relationship among various frequencies, and it's copying the original signals, which is what phasers do. And then a low-frequency oscillator takes over the modulation job, which is what phasers do, right? So this is all what phasers do, but the patching side of it is kind of what makes this interesting. Anyway, so basically, instead of trying to make the same phaser effect that every other phaser does in the world, you've got to explore the kind of core elements of what phasers do, and then you want to try and extrapolate that out. And one of the things, I literally nearly sold a module that I had bought secondhand, thinking, oh, I don't use it anymore, and then I went, hang on a minute, take that off the reverb listing and put that back in the rack, because I've got this phaser module here by who's it by? Frequency Central, which has an odd and an even cycle mode on it. So you can actually, when you're looking at your stages on your phaser, there's an odd and even mode on your stages, and you can literally swap between them, literally as they're going through the stages, and you can see they control that too, and you get some pretty cool stuff. And I've shown it recently on the show when I was doing patched work, so go back a few shows and you'll see me playing with it. That kind of looks similar to what they're doing here. Okay, so you got 8 parameters on this. You've got input, rate, slew, sand, phase CV, resonance, dry, wet, mix, control. Then let's have a listen, actually, because this guy puts a guitar through it, but there's also there's an ARP going through it. There's a xylophone going through it. Shall we just check out all the different sounds going through this thing and have a look?
Go for it.
All right.
Yeah,
Go for it.
Xylophone. Double knot. Now he's patching it, right? Self-patching. Two of them together, self-patching. This is insane.
Very liquidy.
Yeah.
If you know anything about phasers, you think to yourself, I know it can do this, and why don't people do more of it, right? Anyway, that is pretty cool. I would love to see this as a U-Rate module, by the way. Lore Mills, or whatever they're called. Lorre Mill.
Law Mills.
Law Mill, yeah. $365 for this. It's on the bit on the pricey side. It's US dollars, I thought. But then again, it's probably, one of those sort of boutique-y sort of businesses. Geez, I thought it sounded good with the double knot, hey? The double knot V3. That's that thing. I'll show you guys again. That's this thing. They're pretty cool, those things. Thoughts? I know you guys know that I love phaser, so I'll just let you guys talk. So,
actually, the first time I've heard it.
Yeah.
That's an interesting sound. Tell us more.
Yeah.
I love that effect. What's that called again?
No, it sounded pretty cool. Sounded pretty juicy and pretty smooth when it needed to sound smooth. So it's got that guitar. It's got that kind of guitar effect credential. That kind of squiggly, wiggly kind of depth to it, or sort of sounds like it's made of wood. I always say.
Yeah.
But yeah. It is a bit pricey. It's £288 plus shipping. Well, plus shipping and VAT and things. So you're probably looking at $350 into the UK for it.
You always worry though when they set a price like that.
Oh, I mean that's why.
And they've got other things next to it, and you're just thinking, that's like everything you've shown in the demo would make the price 3 or 4 times bigger than that even.
Yeah.
You're always worried that they're kind of this is what gear you should own already. It's like, ew.
And that's the problem with stuff that's coming into the UK from, if you buy from abroad, from anywhere now, it's, thank you Brexit, but we are getting shafted with import duties. So, I don't know really. I mean, it's got lots of potential, hasn't it, really? I'm not a huge fan of phasers, if I'm honest. I've probably got one over there, the guitar pedal somewhere. But the patching capabilities is really interesting, isn't it? The fact you can do other things with it, it's just not it's not a standard phaser pedal.
Yeah, although one thing I did notice about it that I thought was a bit questionable was there did seem to be a lot of control over the number of stages. So I don't know if that's because it is
the sand
like three or 4 stage circuit.
I mean, certainly with the guitar, it just sounded like a normal phase pedal, didn't it? It just sounded like a normal phaser pedal with the guitar. So when he started plugging other synths into it, it started to get a bit more interesting, a bit more weird,
a bit more sound designy. Yeah.
Now,
I mentioned before that phaser module that I've got from Frequency Central. That's it there, the Continuum Phaser 2, and you can see the odd and even switch in the middle, which plays. You can see there's a little line that goes up to the resonance knob, and that's basically indicating to you how it plays with the odd and even stages. So it does it on the resonance side, and you can get some really gnarly feedbacky sort of sounds on it, which is kind of interesting. It's probably its downfall though is it doesn't have an internal LFO, so you've got to patch your own LFO into it, which is not a big deal because I've got LFOs coming out my ears around here. But if you didn't, you'd kind of be, oh, hang on a minute, how do I get this thing to modulate? So that's kind of the downfall of that one. But the other cool thing about this is it's got 2 audio inputs, and you can, control them, which is interesting. So it's got a few little sort of tricks up its sleeve. But I kind of feel like this one that we're looking at here, the glass, I feel like that needs to be U-Rate module. Go.
I agree. It
Go
does.
straight away.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And they probably sell more as a Euro-Rate model.
$365 for a U-Rate module will probably sell. No problem.
Yeah.
No brainer. It's weird, isn't it? For a pedal, maybe not.
Yeah.
For a U-Rate module, yeah, no problem.
It's funny. I remember being a kid in the 70s. So much phaser music on the radio. Didn't even know what a phaser was at the time, but you just know that sound. And then 80s seemed to be the more of a flanger period. Here, flanger a lot in the 80s.
Chorusy flanger, yeah.
Yeah, chorusing
I used to have a
stuff.
Carlsberg phaser, which I loved at the time. This was back in the late 70s, early 80s, till it broke, but I never replaced it.
Yeah. What product would you be interested the most in? The portable DJ system called the Zero, the Tempera, which is that granular synth, the Overcycler, which is the hybrid synth from Glee, or the Phaser pedal?
Tempera for sure.
Well, Tempera for me.
Totally different.
Definitely.
The price.
Tempera. Yeah.
The price
Yeah,
genre, but yeah, the Tempera. If I was flush with money,
And we'll give the pedal a little bit of a
overcycler for the.
I think the more that we can. Do you remember last week we looked at the Atlantis and we said the Atlantics, I should say, sorry, and we said, okay, this is an SH-101 extrapolated out to all the, everything that you can plug into and muck around with. The more we can muck around with reverbs, delays, flanges, choruses, phases, the more that we can granularly get into those little nuances and parts of the stages of a phase, parts of the rate, parts of the... I mean, even like if you look at the way the phase goes through its stages, right, and comes back, and then you get that resonant stage and you get that sort of filtering effect and everything. If you can control a little bit of that more, maybe you want to back off the amount of modulation on it, those sort of things. So the more we get control over stuff, the better it is for us as sound designers and synths people.
Sound design,
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people
There's a popular effect in the late 80s with the adding the LFO to a phaser or a flanger. So they get a kind of staccato. You're going through different parts of the phase or the wave.
Well, it's gating it a bit.
It's like a gating effect or LFO kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Don't hear that much anymore, but it was popular for a while.
I love gating effects. So
It's the kind of thing I guess you muck around on, like on a Buchla with one of those Buchla modules with all the different all-pass filters, because that's the basis of it. So yeah, massive patch. If you want more patching, get a Buchla.
well, yeah, spaghetti. But I mean, that's what
exactly,
phases are. That it's got the all pass in it, right? So
that's right.
But I don't know. Like, I'm looking at this photo wherever it is here, and I don't know. It's a little bit hard to see. Maybe we should zoom in on it a bit.
Why is it so pink?
Yeah, it's
The
pink.
colour's a bit mauve, isn't it? It's mauve.
Mauve, yeah.
Yeah, it's mauve, but it's not a great colour.
Don't ask me. I'm
not quite
I'm
purple.
half colourblind.
It's not quite
Just the
purple.
picture. It looks different in real life.
Yeah, it could be.
It is peculiar.
It is.
Aaron's friend
It
will
is.
like it, right?
No, I'm not so sure. Actually, I don't think it's purple
Close.
enough.
Close.
Look, the thing I'm trying to get at is, if you were to look at this thing, right, on the left hand side, I actually think the layout of this is ingenious. So whoever's designed this pedal actually has the layout perfect. On the left hand side, you've got your input, right? Above it is your input CV, and then underneath there's a little gain knob. It's a tiny little gain knob, but you've got your main input knob. Okay, so you probably can overdrive this, and I don't know if I noticed it on the video. Then the next column is you've got the rate, then you've got a rate CV, and then you've got a slew. Now, I haven't seen slews on phases before, I don't think.
It's heading into
I
envelope
think
territory.
the Moog might have had the option to slew via a CV control, but it didn't have a slew on it. Then the next column you've got is all sort of buttons and inputs, and that's got a reset button, which I'm guessing is resetting the stage, which would be cool. I don't know if there's a CV control of that. Then you've got wave output, slew output, and then you've got data input. Don't know what that's for.
Got sand also.
Then the next is your sand and your sand CV. Now the sand would probably be, I am just as a sort of guess, I think that's to do with stages, I believe.
Yeah.
That would to me be like, I don't know how many stages this thing has got. It didn't actually tell me. I'm going to have a look at their page in a sec. And obviously phase is that manual sweeping that you can do. So there's quite a lot of modules and pedals that have got manual sweep controls of phases.
Yeah.
Then you've got noise output and sand output. So I don't really understand what that is. Then you've got your resonance, which has got your phase CV and your phase output with your dry wet. So there's quite a bit in there. And let me just quickly pop over to their website.
Yeah, if they have a block diagram, that would be helpful.
They do. They indeedly do. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Don't sign out. Don't sign me out, you bugger. Computers.
Fighting the machine.
You either love them or you hate them. This one. There is our block diagram.
Ah, excellent.
It's an H-stage phaser. There we go. So that's good to know because H-stages is pretty decent. 12 would have been better, but 8 is good. I'm okay with that.
Oh, it's got a shift register. So that's
sand
the
is
way
noise.
they're generating.
Yeah.
Okay, sand is noise. But what are they using the noise for? Is that that's so that can that's how they get the self-sounding phase. Okay, the droney sounds. They're using the noise
because it's because the feedback
Yep.
changing with every sample. Yeah.
Yep. The interesting thing there is the slew, right?
Yeah.
So you've got a clock, which you have to have a clock on your rates, everything, LFO and that stuff. But the slew is slewing the phase.
The shift register.
Yeah.
So it's the random source being slewed. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I like
So it's
that.
a bit like generating going from a stepped random source to a smoother one by running it through a slew rate generator.
Which will give some definitely some interesting effects on that. That's actually pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So they are really pulling apart some of the stages of your phaser here and actually adding some little bits and pieces.
This is crying out to be a Eurorack module.
Oh, hell yeah. Please do it as a Eurorack module.
Interesting. Yeah.
If it hasn't already been done. Obviously we should be checking on that. That is really cool.
You can quote Anakin Skywalker, I don't like sand, it's rough and it gets everywhere.
Yeah. Well, it always gets you in your undies when you go to the beach.
You can never trust those sand people.
Now, there's one little... Okay, so let us know in chat what your favourite product was this week, please. But there's one more piece of news which we have to cover while I'm digesting my pudding that I had earlier tonight for dinner. Right, and that is this message here from Moog, who have closed their Asheville store.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
They're moving, aren't they?
We knew it was going to come, didn't we? Who knew it was going to come?
Yeah, we did know it was going to come. They're apparently moving. They're moving. They're still staying in Asheville, though, aren't they? Because they're just moving to another building and another street.
Yeah, but
the centre of town.
But does it mean? It does mean, from what I understand. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but it does mean that the little factory thing is no longer right. So that they're moving to a store location, but the factory is not staying.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Closing the store is just another way of obviously disconnecting with their customers. So it's still very strange.
It's going to be less folksy and more corporate.
Yeah.
Hang on a sec. Maybe I've got that wrong. It says in their statement, we prepared the next chapter of Moog Music. The music store will be closing. Our factory will remain open, and our engineers will still be there handcrafting the instruments and definers. Our shift away from the brick and mortar sales allow us greater bandwidth to focus on researching and developing. Okay, so I got that around the wrong way. Yeah. So the factory is staying.
Yeah, but it's not staying at where it is now, because the factory now isn't that where they've got the images on the windows. That's the factory, isn't it? Where it is now. When you see the pictures, that is moving. Yeah, it's moving in town with what I picked up.
But the store's cool. It gives them like a destination, like people travel out there and make a pilgrimage. And
But it definitely says on their message that they're not having a store anymore. The brick and mortar store.
He had
that.
some of the staff members doing demos and stuff. So that's
well, and they allowed musicians to go and spend a day there and play and create music, and they did all that sort of. And that was Bob's idea back in the day. That's been going on forever. So I'm assuming that is that going to continue? I know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, maybe they will do a special. Through the year they'll do special functions where they hire out of a
They used to have the special videos where they'd come in and record it, right? The stack of
I
gear
would
behind
have.
them.
I honestly would have thought the factory is more important than the shop. If you're thinking about Moog as a whole,
as a business,
they
would have been. It makes more sense.
They would be mad to close their factory because that would do is that it would tell the world, hey, Akai or In Music are basically going to be doing everything in China or wherever now. So yeah, no, I don't think that would have been a smart move. So yeah, it makes sense what they've said. They don't really. I mean, the store is nice. It's a bit like whoever's been there, you'll know what I mean. It's nice. Yeah. But
I'd love to go. I would have loved to have gone, but
it makes sense that if they're cutting costs, that would probably be the first off the chopping block, right? As a big cost.
Hopefully, someone shot a nice tour of the store before it goes away. So.
There is a Moog music store in Canada as well. It's not actually owned by Moog themselves. I forget if it's actually called Moog Music something. I don't know. There's something in Canada as well, which is it's not necessarily just Moog. They sell other products there as well. It's like a music store, right? I remember there was a guy that used to come in to chat quite a lot in our show. That he used to do video tours of music stores around Canada and the US. Forget the guy's name now.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, that's still around. That's still. Let me just quickly Google it while you guys
because there is the other thing that the rumor of the Moog. Here we go. Moog 1 being discontinued.
Moog Audio.
It's not official. All right,
Moog Audio.
Right.
I think it's called. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the Moog one was haunted for a long time. It was never finished, and had
isn't it
issues,
just?
so.
Yeah.
It's about
I
time
never
for
played
them.
one.
So
It's
I
the
heard a
drama,
rumor.
right? They never finished that either.
I heard a rumor this week. One of the stores in somewhere in the world
that's where it came from.
Has taken the Moog one off.
Yes,
and that means it's discontinued. But I haven't seen anything official yet.
There was something. I'm just looking at Reddit now, and there's a whole load of people. But it came from that one store, so we've not heard anything from Moog themselves. I'll call them Moog. I know it's Moog. It's Robert Moog, but for me, it's always been Moog. Moog Music. So sorry about that, people. But,
I don't think anyone gives a care anyway.
No, and actually, I remember seeing an interview with Bob saying, "My name is Moog, but if you want to call it Moog, that's okay." He was cool with it, So back in the day,
well, I think
it's like, do you want to be Smith or Smythe? So.
Why people call it Moog, right? And I notice that probably more English and Australians will call it Moog than Moog, and the reason for that is probably because it's Moog music, so it's easier to say Moog music than it is to say Moog music. It's a literary thing.
However, you're right next. The UK guys are right next to Holland, and the people with the double O is an O sound.
Yeah, it's an O-A sound.
So I had an exchange student here. Her name was Helen Coate, Koot.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't want to pronounce it the other way.
No.
Oh no, and I'd be changing that name pretty quickly.
Better be an old coat than an old coot, right? So
Yep. Oh well, look, it's what the news is to me anyway. It's interesting, but we knew it was going to happen. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Anyway, that's it for news. What was I going to show? Price watch wise, I was only going to show one thing this week because I was interested in showing you this. So we'll roll this thing and let me just double check to make sure our graphics are up and running. Oh, go do that to me, computer. Refresh. Now, did I delete all the photos in from last week? Because if I didn't, we're going to be in trouble. Yay!
John Carter, it's not a Pocklington accent, it's a York accent, mate.
There we go. Oh, mate. Just don't start getting into Australian accents.
No.
This one
I
had
know
me.
Johnny's from York.
This one had me interested because now I'm starting to see. It's kind of like maybe we're getting old. I don't know. I'm starting to see stuff that I bought 10 years ago now in used sort of circles, and I'm thinking to myself, are these prices? Because this is a price watch segment.
That's
right?
what I paid new for mine.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I know this is Perfect Circuit, and they tend to sort of. This is not a dig at them,
sometimes,
but they do lift the price a little bit. And there is a shop in Australia called Found Sound that we were talking about in Discord during the week, and they've been known to do this a little bit lately as well. Actually, I probably should have shown the example. There's a really good example with the Australian one. I might dig that up while we're chatting about this. Anyway, so the purpose of this is just to show you. You guys would consider the Reface CS quite a new release, in terms of synths, right?
Yeah.
Not too old, yeah.
So they're starting to cook around. Are these still available new? Has Yamaha discontinued them?
I don't know. One thing I know is the CS CP never went on sale anywhere. At least this one did go on sale at some point, but can never see anything below 400 for the CP.
The DX is
I
popular.
That's why every time I've had to been watching the price of these ones because I've sometimes been interested in them. And,
they're still available here.
Because I got the DX and I got the CS for this price.
Irritating.
So.
Yeah. £319 here. I know that's dollars for second hand, but £319 new from Music Matters here.
I did a Name That Synth on the Reface CS.
Yes,
and
you did.
Which is literally
look at it again.
It literally bamboozled everybody.
It's a great little synth. But other than Sound Mondo, there's no memory, so you have to basically dial it in.
Well, it's a parameter based synth, so you set to what you're doing, like a lot of old school synths were, right?
That's why this is CS, yeah. It's supposed to be.
And
although it's the, I think it's AN1X inside of it or something.
It's an AN1X, yeah.
Equivalent.
Well, the PLG1AN, whatever it's called. Yeah.
PLG AN1, yeah. Right.
Which is basically the, their VA that they've had for, they've regurgitated in a few synths now. For, AN200 Groovebox has got it as well. Anyway, so let me see if I can dig up the Found Sound thing.
I never see the YC organ one. No one ever buys that one.
Did it have the little organ sliders? Oh, excuse me. On it
did, yeah. It's very colorful.
I don't remember that.
Red. It was a red case and then very colorful slider caps.
I'm not a massive fan of organs, probably because, it's just not my world, right?
No, I love pipe organs, but regular.
I like it. I like a good organ. I mean, a good Hammond B3, can't beat it. Tone wheel,
Some situations, yeah, like in the band Boston, the Hammond with the guitars is really good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think where we were chatting about the Found Sound thing.
I can send you the link if you want, Rance.
Was it under modular, wasn't it?
It was under Price Watch.
Oh, it was.
Vox
okay.
Continental is a great sound,
Watch.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, it was you, Chris. All right, let's do this one. Sorry, guys. Well, I set up the rest of the show that I didn't set up.
You can also add the ears to this and make into a keytar. I have it on my
I'd rather
DX.
not, thank you.
Oh, it's fun, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the example that I was looking for. But this is definitely a good example anyway of.
That's a daft price when you can buy them new.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's do this. 2-. That'll do. Let's refresh and go to the next one, which is Chris's one. This is from a place in Australia called Found Sound, and he was showing me the Oberheim DMX they used for 3,000. This is Australian dollars, by the way, so halve it for pounds.
Yeah.
We do charge
it was
GST here as
1700.
well.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting
not
on
bad
two
price.
fronts for your rants, because I know you like the DMX and I know you like prices.
Yeah, well, it is interesting for me. I mean, I probably wouldn't ever be that person that would buy a DMX. If someone gave me one, I'd be like, "Oh, thank you." But yeah, I wouldn't buy one
Inherited
because
one, yes.
I just
From a
know
mistake.
that they're always going to fetch. It's a bit like some of the Jupiter 8s and CS80s. It's just getting a bit silly now with some of the TR808s, this sort of stuff, right? TB303s. So yeah, they're good for collectors, but you guys know how the DMX works, right? Is it analog? Is it an analog drum machine? Can anyone tell me? I know the answer, but I'm going to see what
Can't
you guys
remember.
I don't want to be the smart ass.
It's full of
Nobody likes
samples,
the
sure.
smart ass.
right? It's full of
I
samples.
wanted to say no, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. It actually says. It actually literally says it there on the graphic. You probably just can't see it. It's full of samples, right? And basically, there's a million of these sample packs flying around on the internet. You literally can make your own DMX. If you've got Arturia's Spark, you can do it.
But the way
So
the
you load it, or
mix
is it
mixed and
EEPROMs? I forgot.
The way the
Is it-
sliders.
EEPROMs, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The
So
sliders,
you-
yeah.
She's- Yeah, well, you stick it into your sort of TR8S.
This is
you want
the Blue
sliders.
Monday drum machine, right?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So you know,
The
if you want to
the
do
buttons
that,
are very
do
clacky.
this.
Remember, a guy was playing one at Synthplex and he was pounding on this thing. They're very, very clacky.
Yeah, they're very,
sounding.
very smacky buttons.
Well, Bernie from New Order, he loved this thing. He absolutely loved this thing. Like he probably hated it. Probably after a few years, he worked out that there's better things out there. But he loved it, for many, many years and used it on so many of his tracks. You can hear it all throughout a lot of the early New Order stuff. But yeah, it's funny. Like people in chat are saying, "Oh, LM1's the one." Like that's half God, half beast saying that. By the way, Roger Lynn, right? There was a video during the week. I don't know if you guys saw it, where he was talking about the new Akai MPC Live 2 and whether he thought that it's kind of they had a falling out and blah 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 blah. But basically, Roger Lynn was the guy that
Well, they ripped
invented
him off,
the
right?
original MPC.
They ripped him off.
They ripped him off.
I mean, Roger. Yeah, Roger is one of the nice. I mean, I spoke to Roger via email a few years ago because we were looking at bringing instruments into the country. Look, Roger is one of the nicest people on the planet. He's a very gentle man.
Yeah.
He's lovely. What Akai did was they ripped him off.
They
Big
ripped off
time.
his invention.
They stopped paying him his royalty.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, is what they did.
Yep.
And that's not right,
No.
But
But
no, that it's worth watching that video. 'cause
welcome
he's-
to the world,
yeah.
and it's not just the music industry that this
And
happens to.
No, it's
Have a look
Big
at the
enough.
IT industry. There's people ripping off people all over the shop.
Yeah.
If you look at, who invented the computer mouse, that's a really good walk
Zero
down.
fuck.
Yeah,
Guys, zero.
yeah.
Well, look, I mean, Macintosh is it's all Xerox PARC totally ripped off. So it's Apple's one of the biggest thieves ever.
So
Yeah,
so,
you can have
ideas.
you can if you've got a instrument owner, you can have a monthly Zoom meeting with Roger. I've never bothered, but lots of people do. And once a month, he gets together with whoever wants to come on onto a Zoom call, and have a chat to them about if they've got any issues. His support is absolutely superb for the instrument owners.
But the thing that a lot of people don't realize about Roger is, he's an engineer, and he has a love for music. Just probably like a lot of us, we have a job that we do, like Andy, me, we do IT, but we have a love for music, right? So we probably, I don't know, if we were pushed into a corner and someone said, "Oh, can you do something musically with your skills?" We probably could, right? If we were pushed. Whereas what Roger's actually done is he's gone, I've got skills and I can actually do something to help the world. And he's literally, probably don't realize it, but there's so many things that he's helped the world with the music industry by his inventions. And you've got the instrument now, Ian, but you probably won't realize this, but in the future, that thing may be an absolute game changer. It's just one of those slow burn things that may take a while to come in.
It is so well built. It's brilliantly well built. I love, yes, I've had it. I only worked out this week. I've had it for 7 years when it first came out, when I first bought it. And yes, it's expensive, but actually it was worth every penny as far as I'm concerned.
Well, if I look at the MPC, if you look at the MPC as an example, the first MPCs came out after Darren's little rack thing that he's got below him there. He's got the 2000s and the 1000, the Akai samplers, right? Which he had part in as well. But the MPCs came out after that. Yep. The first MPC, which was the MPC 60, if I remember rightly,
60. Yep.
Which he did, and then he did the 3000, I think, next. They were like insanely brilliant for the day and age that they came out. But
one actually has a signature on the logo.
Yeah, but when you think about it, how much of the world embraced that, it wasn't as big. We look at it now and we probably think the MPC is a huge thing in the music industry, but not all of you guys have got an MPC. You just know about them, right? So in a way, even that was a slow burn as well. And the fact that Akai reinvented the MPC with this new touchscreen version since 2017, I feel like it's given it a second wind, and they were smart with what they did, and Roger seems to like it. What he said, I think, which is the more important thing, is the workflow that he designed has not changed in its root. So when you hear people say, "Oh, I didn't gel with the MPC," what they're saying technically is that they don't gel with the Roger Lynn workflow method.
Thinking.
Yeah, it's not a stab at him or anything. It's just
No, it's everyone's different.
It's everyone's
What's to everybody? Yeah.
Got a couple of different.
But I absolutely, like, I've used a Lynn drum. I literally
the Tempest with Dave Smith, which is really cool.
He did the Tempest, yeah. So the Tempest I've played with, I literally I didn't even have to read the manual. I could get that thing going straight away. The Lynn drum could get going straight away. So from me, this is just personal. I can do anything Roger Lynn puts his hands to because it just makes sense to me. And it might just be because we have a similar brain in the way we think about things from a music to an engineering sort of link, which is what you've got to understand. Like, music is mathematical, and that's where it can stem across to engineering and computer science. So it touches all those facets. But without those facets existing, you're not going to have all the cool music tech that we've got today that we take for granted. And people like Roger Lynn are really, really important. People like Tom Oberheim are important. People like Bob Moog are, we can say it all day long, but I still think Roger Lynn was one of the most important people, especially on the sequency sort of side of things.
Agreed.
He's also very approachable at shows. I mean, did you go up and talk to him? And
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
regular guy. It's just,
we did have a conversation about, I said if you ever come over to Europe, but he said that's unlikely to happen now. So you're only ever going to see him at American shows. But
well, it's understandable because you travel anywhere now in the world, and you literally are just, it's a lottery whether you pick up a viral problem. Yeah. And if he's not young anymore. So the older we get, the harder it is for us to battle these things in our immune systems. You can have as many jabs in a needle as you like. It's still not gonna improve your immune system.
Yeah, it's not fun being stuck in a flying petri dish for 10 hours or whatever. So
yeah, I remember the last time I flew somewhere, I literally sat on a 3-seat. You know how you get those the jets that have got the 3 seats to the window, then you've got an aisle, then you've got a middle 3-seat, and then you've got an aisle, and then you've got a right 3-seat.
Big one, yeah.
I sat on the 3-seat I sat on the window because I always get a window because I'm smart. And the 2 people sitting next to me were wearing masks, and they were coughing their heads up the whole flight. And this was kind of like, I don't know, it was probably not last year, but the year before. So we were still a little bit raw with COVID.
Yeah.
You know, at
least they're wearing masks.
Well, they were wearing masks, but I masked up, and I'm like hand sanitizing, and I'm like being stupid about this whole thing. I honestly thought that I was going to get COVID. Like I got to my destination, and I was seeing some elderly people that were in their 70s, and I told them straight away. I said, "Look, I don't want to hang around you guys too long because I've just sat on this plane, and these people were coughing their lungs up the whole plane flight. Who knows what's going to happen?" But I did this and I did that, and I told them all about the mask and the hand sanitizer, and what can you do, right? Literally, I thought to myself, right, if I was to buy a lottery ticket that said I've caught COVID, that would have been what I would have bought. But I got home and I didn't catch it, and it's kind of like, it is like playing Russian roulette, especially if you're older. So I can understand why Roger Lynn doesn't want to go anywhere, because it's insane sometimes.
I still carry a mask around me for those. I went to a cinema not that long ago, and the guy behind me was just coughing all the way through the film. So I masked up.
Yeah,
and I'll do it in Edinburgh. We'll go to stuff in Edinburgh, and I'll have a mask in my pocket just to be on the safe side. Because
you guys saw me like 2 weeks ago, right? I just got over and it was flu. I'd had tests and everything, guys. It was the flu, and I had literally, I think I told you guys, I had literally the flu jab about 2 weeks before I got it. So
Unlucky.
it's a strain.
You get to pay for the. Did you pay for the flu jab?
No, it was free.
Covered.
It's free. Yeah, because I'm old.
Yeah, I get them for free as well.
So what ended up happening with me is, I think was it the last week's show or the week before show? I think it might have been last week's show. I still had the cough, and you probably see me every now and then just muting the mic and coughing and stuff. We got. It was kind of that week where all your kids do all these different things at school, so they finish all the academic stuff, and then it's kind of like all the performance stuff, and the parents go in and everything. So when whoever said just before, like, I went to a place, I think it was you, in, and someone was coughing the whole time. That really, really pisses me off. If you're coughing, get up and walk out and go cough somewhere else, and then, get yourself a drink of water or whatever you have to do, take some cough medicine. Once you sort yourself out, then come back. But if you can't sort yourself out, then stay out. And that's exactly what I did at my kids' thing. I started coughing. I had like two little very quiet coughs, and I went, shit, this is going to be a coughing fit. And I got out. And I literally just stayed out, and I missed out on my kids' performance because of it. But have some decency. Don't sit in there and cough all over people.
And casual coughing, as long as you cover your hand with your hand, or sneezing or whatever, people just slobs. Some people just don't have any tact whatsoever. So
get that. This was all just triggered by what Roger Lynn said about how I won't be going to Europe anymore. That is, I guarantee you, that's why he says it. It's not about
I'm sure.
It won't be about the pain of travelling, because most people actually don't mind it. And travelling from the US to the UK is only a 7-hour flight, isn't it? 7 hour flight or something. It's not that much. So.
Yeah. Unless you do layovers.
Yeah. Well, unless you go from LA to London direct, which there is a flight that does that, which would be a bit longer.
On the way back from Pittsburgh, I had an 8-hour layover. It was really annoying.
Yeah, I can't handle those. Yeah. I got stuck in Singapore.
I was cheap. I was being cheap. That was the cheapest airfare I could get. So I was just like,
I got stuck in Singapore for 12 hours, and I was I was so peed off because the flight from where I live to Singapore is very short, and so you can't sleep on that flight, and I didn't want to you can't get a hotel room in Singapore for 12 hours because it's a waste of money. So what do you do? So I just jumped into a cab and mucked around in Singapore for about 9 or 10 hours or whatever it was. But I was so buggered on that second flight. Yeah. And then you got to the point where you're so tired that you can't sleep. You become really irritable and you can't sit and you can't get rested in your chair. And that was that second flight. And the second flight was like a 13-hour flight. I'm like, oh. And I got to the destination and I was ripped, like jet lag ripped so bad. And I didn't enjoy the holiday because of it. And that was the layover that did it to me.
Yeah.
I've back in the days when they still had transit lounges or transit hotels in Singapore. I think this would have been before 9/11 even. I did one trip to Malaysia, I think. No, it was India. And we had to do a 12-hour stay over in Singapore. And we just crashed in this transit lounge. It's not much different from the pods you get in Japan. Got a bit bigger than that, but that was the case where that's what they had in Singapore back then. I guess that's all gone since things like COVID and 9/11.
I think they might
slept
still
on the
have
floor of
them.
SFO once when a flight got screwed up. That was fun.
They're probably exorbitant now. Like probably cost way too much, and you just wouldn't do it.
I think you rent.
Yeah,
you can rent
the company.
You can rent the little sleep capsules, can't you? In Singapore, I'm pretty sure you can.
I think you can. Yeah.
Yeah. I just chose to go into this because I wasn't tired. That was the problem.
Yeah.
I don't need a capsule. I'm not tired. I've only flown, 4 or 5 hours from my city.
Can't remember if it was the case in my case, whether it was because it was the middle of the night and so we were already sleepy, or whether it was a case of if you want to be able to do work as soon as you land in India, we're going to be getting sleep now kind of situation. I can't remember.
Oh, but me, ex-military, I used to fly all the time, and we used to hit the drink pretty hard at certain, So we were used to not having sleep and then being able to. It was kind of a thing. You had to function, and you also had to party. You had to do both, because if you didn't, you just didn't live.
Your bodies take CBD and knock you right out. So
you were just because you're younger. Your bodies are able to handle. I don't know if I could do it now. No way. I'd be like, nah, you guys.
We had to do it because our 40-year-old boss was still young at heart and was happy to drink all night. So it's like something. It's like, oh, we're younger. We have to stay up with him. Yeah.
Manny, are they the pod people? Are they like the lizard people, or are we actually talking about the lizard people?
Yeah.
I saw this. Definitely. I literally saw this reel or whatever it was, where I think it was Miley Cyrus, and she's like licking the side of her face, and she's got a really long tongue, and then there's this caption underneath like, "The lizard people are still here, people," and she's doing this kind of weird thing with it.
Yeah.
It's like,
that was her old twerking period, right? Yeah.
So now Miley Cyrus is a lizard person. She lives in a pod, Manny. She does. What music do you listen to when you're in a pod? There you go.
Use your earpods.
Oh.
I listen to podcasts.
Oh,
yeah.
Here we go. I was in a pod listening to a podcast on my earpods.
Listen to Ian sing on Podbean.
Yeah. Listen to me on Podbean. Yeah, once a month. Yeah. We changed the subject, but we had there was a big thing going on in town this week because Coldplay came and practiced at the Cheese and Grain venue in
Big Chris.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not a fan, so I was never going to go down there. But apparently, massive, because they thought it was a secret gig. People just thought it was a secret gig, although the Cheese and Grain announced there's no gig, but because they've seen all the big trucks arrive and they blocked off the car park. So there's a massive queue. This is Thursday and Friday. They rehearsed 2 days because they're playing tonight, I think. They're headlining tonight at Glastonbury. I'm probably going to go work Glastonbury next year, or try to anyway, at least. I don't want to necessarily go and buy a ticket. But so the massive queues of people who got very upset when there wasn't a gig, but they were told up front there wasn't a gig. Just like, you couldn't make it up.
There's a large economy in disappointment these days.
Oh God, yeah.
It's like
apparently something got really stroppy.
It's like, I'm really disappointed. The world owes me something because it promised me something or gave me the impression of something.
Just so you guys know too, I just got a message from what was his name? Robert, that came on earlier too. I'm not gonna do Rafa memes. I think I mentioned this to you guys before, not because he's my mate or anything like that. I just kind of feel like, I don't want to get sort of involved in all that, because I feel like
still a thing. I
still feel like it's a bit of a personal attack on him, and I'm not really on that sort of train. I know, I'm not a mate. It's not like I'm not protecting him for anything like that, but I just kind of want to stay back, if that makes sense. Like, I just don't want to. I don't want to get into that fight. So those people who know what I'm talking about, you will know what I'm talking about.
He was extremely annoying for a while, to be honest, though. I mean, just
probably
himself all over the place.
Yeah,
he was
probably, but did it kill us? No. Do we need to give him personal attacks? No.
Yeah, I'd rather look at him than Miley Cyrus. So.
Well, yeah, there you go. So
with the tongue.
Yeah, so just wanted to let you know I'm not going to do those memes. But yeah, any other memes, fine. Yes. But the other topic that we wanted to talk about this week was we were talking about the pricing, just to sort of wrap up the Price Watch segment. We were talking about the pricing of used gear, and I kind of felt like sometimes we talk about this, Darren, you might remember, we've talked about this for many years, where the price of used gear, there's two prices. There's a price for people who must have it, like a collector price, and there's a price for people who must need it, like a user price. And I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this in the used market, but you can, if you're a person that trades gear or exchanges gear, or may not be to the person that you're buying it from, but Brooksy was kind of giving us an insight with this was it last week, where he managed to get his SH-101 back for the price that he sold it to the guy from.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Which is incredible, right? But I actually started thinking about that, and I thought to myself, that's incredible. And then I thought, hang on a minute, this has happened to me. And then I actually started thinking about it, and it's actually happened to a few people. So that's kind of like the two-speed prices that I was talking about before. So, you're looking at things like CS80s that are going for £50,000, and then at the same time, I feel like there'd probably be a way to get a CS80 cheaper than that.
Wait, CS8 50K, that's cheap.
Context.
Well, maybe, but all I'm saying is that I feel like there's two prices, and so I guess kind of it depends on you, I guess, as a person. I've delved in selling gear, I've delved in buying gear, used. You guys all have as well. It's kind of like it's a tricky sort of world to play in, but I feel like if you can take the urgency trap out of your persona and like just control yourself and step back to and say, you know what, I'll sleep on it. You know what, I'll pass on it this time. Those sort of little sort of power words are always really good, and you never know what comes next from the person that you're buying it from or selling it to. That's kind of where you'll get your two-speed prices. Darren, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? When you bought some of your used gears, you've told us a few stories about the shop. Yeah.
It's like you say, if the collectible stuff, it's just like prices that are just beyond, just reasonable. And then, like you say, you get the prices that are sort of people who need it or really want it, it's still expensive, but it's not, it's not museum type collectors prices.
Plus, my local music store, there's used stuff, and I get all my goodies. I'm a good customer there. They like me, so they always give me deals on stuff.
Mm.
They throw in stuff in a bundle. I get stuff way
good.
knocked off. So I mean, that helps a lot.
Because you're a regular, right? So they know you're.
I'm also nice. I'm not a douchebag when I go into the store. So
Yeah.
That helps.
It does help.
Some of these places, I think, are now probably, perhaps they're selling a bit more online, that they're starting to lose a little bit of that sort of perspective. Could be.
Well, the problem with selling
losing
stuff
the
online
reins.
is it's always the lowest price.
Yeah, that's
the way that that's the way, and we've got stuff online which is because we're still selling some musical instruments as a retailer, although we're doing less and less of it, and because we won't drop the price, anymore. I mean, we're not making a lot on each sale. It's mainly guitars and stuff like that, but we aren't selling lots of them purely and simply because somebody, stupid offers like a £200 guitar and somebody offers you £100 for it. It's a brand new guitar, which will come straight from the distributor. So absolutely not, you do get an awful lot of that, really.
Yeah, as you said, they're doing it just by numbers and not really thinking much deeper.
Yeah.
Which is a bit sad, but I guess the longer they're in the game, the more they realise how it really works.
Yeah.
Especially when they get on the flip side and actually have to start sell stuff themselves.
Yeah. I feel like we're in an interesting situation right now too, because we've got a plethora of choice, right? The used market is saturated. The new market is saturated. There's niche markets which are saturated. So from we're like a little kid in a candy store. From our point of view, for being a synthesis, we could literally just, we could start somewhere and be diverse no matter where we start.
Yeah.
Whereas probably 10, 15 years ago, it was a little bit more narrow. You probably didn't have as much choice. You probably didn't have as much opportunity. Some of that would be the Behringer factor, and you may love or hate that. Some of that would also be the Eurorack factor. You may love or hate that too. I feel like they have different influences for different reasons. But at the same time, there are other companies out there that are doing things innovative, and they're doing them on the cheap, and we don't bash them like we bash Behringer. And they definitely, Akai Multimedia are doing really inexpensive products. Modal are doing inexpensive products. They're amazing, and we shouldn't bash them because they're actually really good, both of those companies.
Can I just say something about Akai Multimedia? Because I bought the Arc Studio, which I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. And one thing I didn't do when I first set it up was I only used my main studio monitors, and then I watched a video, and this guy in his studio, he did all of the speakers in his studio at the 21 point. Now it takes a while; it took probably about an hour and a bit to do. But what a difference it's made to all of the speakers that I've got in here. So I've got a pair of AR-18s, which were going to have to be put a bit against the wall, but actually sound better where they are now that they're through the Arc Studio.
The Arc Studio.
And also I've got a pair of mix monitors, right, which are not in a great position. They're actually behind. You only get half of them. They made such a difference by doing that and doing the profiles on. So if anybody who's got an Arc Studio, do all of your speakers, because it takes time, but it's so worth doing.
Right.
Because it's made a lot of difference,
So
and I don't have to put any.
Is it doing like an EQ treatment? Is that what it's doing?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is fundamentally. Yeah, I mean, you move you set the microphone up here, and then you move it to 7 points on different levels.
Yeah.
So ear level, 6 inches above, 6 inches below. So it takes time, you know, but it's made such a difference, really, you know. And then you can tweak the, you know, the actual profile if you want to, you know. Like I've got a dip at one point, which I may explore at some point on my main monitors. But yeah,
is your studio like is it like part of the garage or like an outbuilding?
No, it's
or is it actually
building.
part of? It's not part of the house though, right? It's a separate building.
No.
Okay,
No, that's the house behind me. That's the wall to the house.
Yeah.
So it's technically in the garden, and it's fundamentally a home office.
Okay.
It would have been sold as a home office type building, you know.
What are the walls
It
made
does
of?
get a bit warm. They're hollow because that was the problem with the guitar,
Studded.
putting the guitars up.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so it's studded, and it's
Studded,
the outside of it is wood.
Yep.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, gotcha.
Is it all insulated though?
Mm-hmm, it is.
Rock wool.
Yeah.
So in a winter, you're
Yeah, it's
not
got
gonna freeze your
I'm not
testicles
going
off.
to. Plus, I've got
like we have been this week, hey, Rance?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there's a heater down here as well, which I will use in the winter.
Yeah.
You know,
Is it a
so
concrete
it'll
slab
be-
underneath?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you know, it's
pretty
fine.
cool,
My
mate.
main worry was the
Yeah.
guitars, because what I have done is I've removed 2 of the guitars because there was 8 guitars in here. I don't need 8 guitars, and to be fair, I'm going to probably sell them, at least 2 of them. You know, I need a couple of guitars. I need a classical. You know, I need an acoustic. I've got a bass and stuff like that. So, but that's made a
Good
big
wall,
difference as well.
decorations. Yeah, nice guitars.
It is actually, yeah. I mean, ideally, I would have them not all in one place. I'd have them, you know, you can sort of see them if I turn the camera up a bit. Let's lift this up. Hey. You can see them; they're all there. You know,
In that small space, are you getting the sympathetic resonance of the strings?
I am, and that was the problem.
Yeah.
No, the fact is, it's. I've tried
Sympathetic
it.
resonance.
One of them's got a
Something
sock.
for an album.
No, there's one up there with a sock over it, which does help a little bit actually.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's, you know,
Turns your
but
guitar
taking a
into
couple
sitar.
hours actually made a big difference.
I
Yeah,
want to get myself a new acoustic. I mean, the acoustic that I've had for years is an Novation vinyl back, and
yeah, they're good.
I absolutely love the sound of them. They're a really nice sounding guitar, and because the vinyl back actually does something kind of unique to the sound, but
Yeah,
they're a
it's
pain in the
circular,
ass
it's
to play because the back of the vinyl back is curved, right? So when you're playing the guitar, you want it to sit, and I actually like
Doesn't sit right, does it?
doesn't sit right. It keeps slipping off you,
Yeah.
and it's a pain. So I actually want to get myself. There's a guitar in Australia. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's called Maton. They're made with Tasmanian oak, and they. I don't know if anyone's ever heard them, but they actually have this really kind of just a really pure acoustic sound that, in a way, it's just kind of like. If you're into acoustic guitars like I am, when you hear it, you'll just go, "That's kind of what I want an acoustic guitar to sound like." And if you've touched a lot of acoustic guitars, you'll hear a lot of them, and you'll go, "It sounds okay, but I'm not in love with it." You know, that's kind of where you go with a lot of them. But you hear a Maton, and you're like, "Oh, that is just beautiful." And it's all it is just. The design is very similar, shapes and everything. That you're probably looking at the same sort of volume of air inside and all that sort of stuff. It's very kind of not anything special there, but the way the wood resonates because it's Tassie oak.
Yeah,
it just has this kind of ambience about it. It's really interesting.
And as it gets older, it will get better because it'll be solid. Because it's solid oak.
Yeah, it will. I mean, they're not cheap.
I mean,
You're looking at $3,000 for an average.
I've got I've had it for 30 odd years. I've got a Fender Montero, which I don't want to sell, but I'm trying to convince one of my children to have it, but Josh doesn't want it. I don't play it very much. I played that, which is a Hagström, which is Swedish, I think. It's perfectly. I mean, I'm not. It's not my first instrument, so. but I write songs on it. I write songs on acoustic guitar and then put them onto synths, which apparently is what Vince Clarke does. And no, I didn't steal it from him, and he didn't steal it from me. But,
Martin Gore does it too.
Very rarely do I, mainly because when I'm singing and playing, I just find it easier to, mainly because unless I'm using complex chords, then I would do it on a keyboard. But if I'm just using sort of very basic chords, I know I can sing and play and play the rhythm part, and then, do it from there.
I kind of like, this guys in chats talking, what are you talking about guitars for? They actually really are important in my synth journey because I'm a massive fan of guitar and synth in music. Like, to me, it's, they work together beautifully.
I do.
And I like the sound of an acoustic guitar with synths. It just really, they own the sort of their own spectrum in the mix quite well, and I just love it. It's beautiful. So you've got that sort of electronic sound of the synth, and you've got that sort of acoustic sound of the guitar, and they work well together.
In fact, one of the girls I'm going to be working with, she's a guitarist, and lots of head shows on her music. So we're going to keep that. We're going to keep that element of it, of her playing guitar, I think, because I think it would fit really well with with some of the songs that we're probably going to do.
Bert mentioned he likes the sound of the Yamaha. I actually don't mind. I really don't mind. The black Yamaha acoustics are actually quite good. It's almost cliche, but they actually sound pretty good. They're up there.
Yeah, the cheaper ones, sort of the sub £500 Yamahas, don't last very long. They don't. They're all right for 2 or 3 years, but then the difference. This is an ex Yamaha dealer telling you this.
Yeah.
They don't last that long.
Well, they're lighter, aren't they? You can pick up the more expensive ones are heavier, and you can just tell.
They definitely are.
Yeah. And also, if you look at the hardware on it as well, you'll see the quality of the hardware. You just literally don't look past. In fact, if you guys are synth guys and you think, I wouldn't mind picking up an acoustic guitar just mucking around, I reckon do it, because when you go looking at them, it's actually kind of cool. Like, even if you don't really know how to play more than 3 chords, just go there and just have that vibration resonance thing happening. It's a cool thing to do.
The guitars that we used to sell, which were sort of, we'll call it a budget guitar, or sub 500 quid, but a French company called Lag. I don't even know if you can still get them in the UK, but they were imported by a company, and they spent a lot of money, trying to build the brand in the UK, and then Lag basically took it off them and gave it to somebody else. I think they gave it to Gibson at the time.
Yeah, I remember it being Gibson.
Yeah, and then Gibson did absolutely nothing with it, and it died a death.
Normally,
but they're actually really, really good guitars.
Yeah.
For, say, a sub 500 quid guitar. So if I didn't have the Hagstrom, I'd be out buying a Lag.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why I got the Ovation, because it was kind of in Australia it was about $700, which is it's sub £500, right? It's about £350.
Also, don't forget the fun of MIDI guitars. Eddie and I do that little show once a month. So.
Oh yeah.
But my Ovation has it doesn't have the it has a little battery powered pickup on it, right? And I use it to control synths sometimes, because it will send out control voltage. So
all right.
It's interesting.
Guys, I'm gonna have to go. I've been
Good to see you, Darren.
We're going to end it anyway, Darren.
See you in a fortnight. Darren.
Yeah.
No show next week.
Pumpkin.
Just so everyone knows, there is no show next week because I actually have to go to my hometown and see my dad, who's been told he's only got about 2 months left to live. So I have to go and see him. So that's why there's no show. It's we're going to take the whole family over and spend some time with him.
Yeah, spend some time with him. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All the best.
He's getting on, so he's had a good inning. So it's not like a shock thing or anything like that. He's in his 80s, so he'll be fine. But he's got stage 4 cancer in the liver, and he's fighting fit to try, and he wants to try everything he can to fight it. He's doing chemo, he's doing radio, and things are going okay. But we'll go over there because the doc's given the diagnosis, and usually they're pretty much on a song. But yeah, we'll see what happens. No, you're right, guys. No. You don't need to worry about it. It's my dad's had a bit of a hard knock through his life. He had it when he was 50, so like my age now. He had his first stroke, and then he had about 4 or 5 strokes. No, he had 5 strokes altogether. So he had 4 more strokes after that over the years. And the first stroke he had, we were literally ready to say goodbye to him. So I've had this kind of happen to me before with him. So for the last 30 years, I've been preparing to say goodbye to my dad. It's hard because you're doing it multiple times over multiple. Yeah. But this one I feel like is probably the real one, because you can't really beat the dreaded C, and it's in his liver. There's not really anything you can do when it's in your liver after it gets to that point where it's stage 4, unless it's a miracle or something. Yeah, he's a fight. That's what I mean. Half god, half beast. Yeah. Like, he literally, when he rang me, he told me about it. He said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I don't want to go yet. And I'm like, geez, that was like so powerful to hear. Do you know what I mean? Yes.
Good on him.
Yeah. So bottle that, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We could all do a bit of that kind of courage and spirit. Yeah, that's great. Great advice.
I mean, that's what they call the school of hard knocks. 5 strokes, and then you survive 30 years, and then you get told you've got stage 4 cancer, and he's still fighting. You know, that's the school of hard knocks there. But you know, that's what I say. Like, you always look at your parents. You know, we've had lives, and we've looked to our parents, right? And they shaped us for whatever reason. But you got to think, shit, they're still teaching you things, even to this day.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. But anyway, don't let this sharpen or unbrighten your mood or whatever, guys, because it's a happy thing for me, because I get to see my mum and my dad.
Yeah,
exactly.
And we're going to enjoy ourselves.
The good news is he's had a long life. That helps a lot, right? So
hell yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, my mom died at like 46 of cancer, so I mean, you know, it could always be much worse. You know?
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That sucks. But on the flip side, I might even be able to venture into maybe a music store while I'm over in that city and see if there's anything cool over there. Hey, see if I can bring something back.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to end the show, and don't forget. So no show next week, but I'll be back the week after. You know, maybe if I can, I might leave the keys to JX3D. Maybe he can do I don't know, a show or something like that. See what happens, see what we can organise. And I better let Darren go, because otherwise he's going to have his testicles cut off.
No, I've them off. They're not even there.
All right, guys. Many thanks for the show, and all the best. And see you guys in about a week's time. Yeah, whatever.
2 weeks time. Yeah.
All right.
See you later, guys.
Toodles.
Bye, everybody.
I'll take care, everybody.
Bye.